These days were made for me, man. Hey, welcome aboard. Hopefully, each and every single one of you had an absolutely sensational weekend. As we are now, get this, Saturday and Friday, teams are now officially going to be reporting to training camp. I believe the Seahawks report on Friday and the 49ers report on Saturday. How you doing, man? I mean, and the Eagles report in 18 days, I believe. 15 days, excuse me. They report in 15 football days from now. And this is a start, man. We got to roll in here. I mean, you know what? I got to say this too, man. I got to hand it to people. There were some really great sports in between getting us to football season and getting us to college football. You had the Olympic Games. Obviously, the World Cup, the draft, all that free agency. And there's no getting around it, man. We are here. Football season, week 0 is right around the corner. I believe on the 29th, my Hurricanes, they report to fall camp. Let's get it going. I think it's going to be another great year. July 28th, a lot of the teams are going to be reporting to training camp. And in that time frame, we're starting to get some really good thoughts on what people see with some of these rosters and their 90-man rosters heading into training camp. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button. Super chats go to the top. And as I said, days like this were made for me. All right, so I want to start this off by doing this. Okay, so ESPN, what was it? ESPN and executives said that the Philadelphia Eagles have the second best roster in the National Football League to the Rams. And I think that's probably true. I do. I think you've got a lot of talent. I think some of the talent on offense is overrated. I think the national media is usually a year behind when it comes to people that cover the team exclusively. Like, I think the national guys are a year behind. Like, they're just starting to discover Zach Bond. Hey, this guy looks like Fred Warner all of a sudden. Yeah, well, he's been doing that shit for 2 years. And everybody, okay, is now starting to give that guy his kudos. Suave, I got to thank you, dude. Each and every single day, you welcome us in, and I can't thank you enough for supporting the show. Thank you so much. I think Denver's got a really good and underrated roster, Rasputin. I agree with you. I think Denver's really good. I think New England has a pretty good roster as well. I think some of the more overrated ones, in my opinion, I think that you look back and you look at some of the overrated rosters, I want to say maybe San Francisco a little bit, because of the age factor and what the 49ers have. Let's put it out there. If Denver has Bo Nix in the AFC Championship game, I think they beat the New England Patriots, and they give the Seattle Seahawks a better game in that Super Bowl in Santa Clara. Anyway, hit the like button. Super chats go to the top. We're going to have some fun here today, man, because I like it when people validate big sills. I love it. How many people in here think we know what we're talking about when it comes to football? Just curious. How many people? Let's just see in here. How many people think you know big sales here and that? I know some of the stuff that you hear from people. What do you call what does John McMullen call me? Shock jock, whatever that thing is. James, appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, I think Brady wasn't just talking about AJ. I think he was talking about the position in general. Rasputin, I respect 95% of your takes. Okay, here. The majority of people in here know you have a low IQ. All right, I want to show you guys something. This is really cool. So you could take that comment from M. Reyes or Mark Tressman, who sent me this really cool book. We're going to get him on. teaching the game. It's really a great. And by the way, the forward is done by Tony Dungy and Steve Young. Or you could listen to M. Reyes. Here, pretty cool. Dan, nobody loves football more than you. Your passion and enthusiasm is contagious. I'm very proud of you. Your mission to continue teaching the game and teaching us the game with respect, humility, and brotherly love. Tez. Love this guy, man. Lots of love, man. Mark Trestman. Coached Phillip Rivers, Jim Kelly, Steve Young, Joe Montana, Dan Marino. Go down the list of some of the greatest throwers in the history of the game. And Mark and I have sat many conversations about offense and about how you move the chains, what guys fit certain schemes. Like I said, you could believe Reyes or a guy who's actually taught the position. It's your choice. That's why when we say things, and then a year later we get validated by certain people in the media, it's kind of interesting to see. So explain this to me. Jeremy Fowler does a brilliant job when it comes to talking about the top rosters, when it talks about players. The Eagles have a boatload of football players that are highly regarded. And there's one position that is not highly regarded. So let's take a look at what executives, the 2026 NFL training camp, and here are the top 10 quarterbacks according to executives and people in the league. Not media people, but media asking questions. And this is how the survey goes. What a guy like Jeremy Fowler will do, he'll send a questionnaire to Howie Roseman. Howie, who do you think the top 5 wideouts are in the NFL? He'll send one to Dan Morgan down in Carolina and go, Dan, who do you think the top tight ends are? Or he'll send one to Brett Veach in Kansas City. Who do you think the top 10 quarterbacks are? And what they'll do is they'll ask questions on every position, and it's a questionnaire. I get questionnaires all the time from Hall of Fame voters like Jason Cole, Jared Bell, and guys like Howard Balzer, who I would pick to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Out of 15 players, I got to pick 5 guys, and I do that every year. Every year I do that, okay? So he does it to active general managers. It's funny, I guess, we don't have a quarterback or a coach to tell AJ to shut the F up and lock in. There's no truth on the field and leadership, Sills. That's correct. I thought John McMullen made a great point today. Even Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl with a loaded team. And Barry Switzer was in over his head. As much as I love Coach, he was in over his head as the head football coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Even that guy won a Super Bowl. Seals, me personally, I thought Brady acted like a child at times. He wants you to shake his hand when he beats you. It's the other way around. He acts like a kid. We'll talk about Brady's comment and all that stuff that went on when he was on the podcast there with the Kelseys. Well, let me give you what executives think. By the way, hit the like button. Thank you guys for coming aboard here as we're 15 days out from the start of Eagle training camp. Here's what executives and who executives in the National Football League think are your top quarterbacks. Again, this is not media people. This is who the people that actually, if you were ever to trade a player, this is what they think of you. The number 1 football player at the position of quarterback in the National Football League is Josh Allen. Not a surprise. Allen has long pushed the supplant Mahomes, but he had to fight for every vote to finally make that happen. Allen took advantage of composition voting, averaging a ranking of 2.10 per ballot. He's the most singular, unstoppable player at that position in this game. He is without a doubt the most singular, unstoppable player at quarterback. Me personally, I think he stops himself. Once among the game's most generous at gift wrapping footballs for defenders, Allen has worked on the turnover problem, averaging 8 interceptions per season since 24, down from 15.7. He fumbled 12 times over 2 years, an improvement from his 20 the last 2 previous years. He's down to at least 6 now when it comes to that category. And I think that's got a lot to do with Joe Brady. There is no doubt that Josh Allen is the most gifted player and quarterback, as I've been telling you the last 4 years in the NFL. Nobody is more talented than Josh Allen at the quarterback position. Thank you, NFL executives. Let's go to number 2. Patrick Mahomes. Now, Mahomes' resume is second to none. I mean, his down year is Hurts' greatest year. No quarterback has garnered more respect in the post-Brady era with his 267 touchdown passes, tied for second all-time for quarterbacks in their first 9 years. The only other guy is Peyton Manning. He still puts fear in people like no other quarterback. Gives you a shot in every single game. As one NFL personnel director noted, a weak supporting cast in Kansas City has camouflaged Mahomes' greatness. Chiefs have struggled to run effectively in recent years, and the trio of Xavier Worthy, Rashid Rice, and Hollywood Brown never blossomed into any threat. It was all Mahomes. There is no doubt that guy camouflages some of the ineptness that they have in Kansas City on picking quality talent around him. There is no doubt. I mean, when you look at skill set, I don't believe there's a quarterback in the NFL that he's almost untradeable. Patrick Mahomes is almost untradeable on what he can give you. He covers weakness. That's not a devastating group, what they have in Kansas City on offense. I mean, without Mahomes, that's a 4-win football team. I mean, he is just a special player. So he comes in for NFL executives at number 2. Remember something, too. How NFL executives look at these players, not based on team, but based on talent. This is a talent conversation. Okay? It's a talent conversation. NFL executives are telling you who the most talented players are at these respected positions. I mean, this is how they see the game. Number 3, Matthew Stafford. Stafford's MVP campaign vaulted him into the top 3 in convincing fashion. Stafford's earned an impressive 17% of the first place votes. Executives say, without a doubt, you talk about one of the greatest spinners of the football, Matthew Stafford is that. Nobody played better than him last year, and it wasn't even close. An NFL executive who was polled here. Coaches saw a quarterback playing in rhythm, trusting his receivers, throwing to spots with elite anticipation and arm strength. Something Hurts will never in his life do unless he's playing Madden. Stafford and McVay is now the best quarterback coach duo in the league, said an AFC offensive coach, and it's not close. Stafford at number 3, according to NFL executives. Number 4, Joe Burrow. We've had Bruce Arians on the program. Burrow's durability concerns pushed him out of the top 3 where he resided the past 2 seasons. I agree. I think his longevity and his health have held him back. But Burrow's considered the closest thing. I've said this from day one to Tom Brady's game. The way he sees the field, the way he sees pre-snap reads, anticipation throws, how he plays in the pocket. When he does scramble, he creates yards. Joe Burrow is actually the most proficient quarterback that's in the pocket of anybody in the league. When you look at his skill set, there's actually nobody that's in the National Football League that plays with more anticipation, more skill, in my opinion, than Joe Burrow. Again, though, durability has to be part of the equation when you're talking about, evaluating a player. Like Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean came on in the back end of his career. Okay? And he came on. However, the one thing now that X'd him off the Eagle roster was he was not available enough. So, and let's not put this also not in the conversation. Joe Burrow's offensive line have ranked 26th in his entire time as an offensive football player in Cincinnati. He's had the worst offensive lines to work behind. And he's still gotten the team to a Super Bowl and won an AFC championship in Cincinnati, which is insane. Number 5, Lamar Jackson. One NFL defensive coach noticed a stark contrast in preparing for Jackson in 25 relative to his early years. What's so impressive is that he's gotten better as a passer, which is true. He's more of a complete passer. It's impressive. I really didn't respect the passing game as much before in his career. But the last time we played him, he's much better. He can dice you up. Jackson's 2-time MVP has largely overcome the stigma that followed him in exercise in previous years. Lack of polish from the pocket. He earned his first 4,000-yard passing season in 24 and led the NFL in yards per completions at 13.3 last season. His 65-22 rushing yards are the most in NFL history for a player with at least 1,000 career passing yards. Pretty much an established quarterback. His rushing yardage per average and touchdowns did all drop in 25. It did. I thought the team wasn't very good, and at times I didn't really think he was. Okay? So Lamar dropping to 5 and him being in the top 5, I think that's a little high. I think he didn't have a very good 2025. So I'm not sure he's a top 5 quarterback. But I'll give you my list and who I see as top 5. So here's number 6. Dak Prescott. Prescott was a fixture in voting, appearing in nearly 75% of the votes with a healthy number of 5 first-place votes. In fact, many people look at him as being in that spot at number 6 as low. He's a true acute progression passer, an NFL coordinator said. There are only so many of these type of players when it comes to understanding post-snap reads and seeing the entire field. He's just really good command of the offense. And when Prescott's in the pocket and focused, there are very few quarterbacks in the league that possess his skill set. Prescott was plagued by interceptions in 22. And this past season, his 4 seasons with 4,000 passing yards and 30 touchdowns are tied now for 6th most with Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, and Phillip Rivers. Dak Prescott at number 6. At number 7, Justin Herbert. I think of all the things he did a year ago, you talk about a guy who played with no offensive tackles and a broken hand for the back end of the year. I thought he had a great year. Herbert's career has reached an inflection point. He's an immense talent who recorded historic numbers in his early years. If you're picking quarterbacks to build around you, you're still taking him pretty high, said an NFL executive. That proved true in voting, with Herbert appearing in nearly 80% of the ballots as preparing for an offense. Offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel is intrigued at what he's going to be able to do this coming season with Justin Herbert. There's a reason the Chargers OC job was the best one available, because the quarterback, and an NFC scout said, McDaniels, there is no one with more talent in the game today. I happen to agree with that, but I think he's got to put it together. I do. He's still young and possesses, in my opinion, to me, he's a lot like Phillip and Roethlisberger in the pocket. But I do think he's got a better arm than Roethlisberger. That's number 7. Number 8. Zander and I kind of said this from day one about Drake May. Last year, he was unranked by NFL executives. May's Super Bowl run and near MVP performance elevated him into the elite discussion. Though still on the fringes, he appeared on more than 60% of the ballots and earned many fifth-place votes. Size, athleticism, accuracy, playmaking, upside through the roof, poise, toughness. An NFL coordinator said he had 0 weapons in last year's quest to run to the Super Bowl. May is the 3rd quarterback since 26 to lead the NFL in total QBR with a 77-1. Completion percentage at 72%, yards per play at 9, and others were Tom Brady in 2007. He's really talented, but I need to see more. I agree, said an NFL coach, defensive coach. Other quarterbacks on this list have proven it over time. He's got to keep doing it. Drake May at number 8, and I do think Drake May is now getting that weapon. We'll see what him and AJ and Josh McDaniels do. These are NFL executives. So far, the top 8 are Josh Allen, number 1. Mahomes, 2. Stafford, 3. Burrow, 4. Lamar, 5. Dak, 6. Herbert, 7. Drake May, 8. Number 9, Jared Goff. Who would have thought in the wildest imagination that when they made that trade for Jared Goff to Detroit for Matthew Stafford, that the 2 quarterbacks in conversation are in the top 10? Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford are top 10 quarterbacks according to NFL executives. Think about that. Those 2 guys were swapped out for one another. Usually when you trade a quarterback, like you trade Carson Wentz, you're trading a guy because you're dying to get away from him. You're dying to get away from that guy. But Jared Goff lands inside the top 10 with NFL executive. And it's benefited both teams. Rams won the Super Bowl, and the Lions got better as a franchise. Very rarely do you see that. And I think Goff may be one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the NFL. Goff's last 2 seasons stack up well against just about any quarterback in the league over that time. He's thrown for nearly 10,000 yards, 71 touchdowns, and only 4 quarterbacks have more 4,500 passing seasons than Goff. 5. Breeze, Brady, Matt Ryan, and Peyton Manning. That's quite a class to put that guy in. Let me read that again. Only 4 quarterbacks have more 4,500-yard passing seasons than Jared Goff, who has with 5. Breeze, Brady, Matt Ryan, and Peyton Manning. The guy wins, an NFL coordinator said. He's going to find a completion if not under pressure. Mature pocket passer with a plus arm who can layer the ball with all levels and sees the entire field. Pocket passer, big league, no question about it. Jared Goff comes in at number 9. I think that's a pretty accurate conversation about him. What do you think about what Tom Brady said about AJ? I don't think it was just about AJ in general. I'm going to get to that. I think it was wide receivers. I think if you guys are just listening, because they started it off with AJ, but I think he was talking about all wide receivers in the National Football League, if you listen to it. Got to waste a lot of energy. I'll get to that. And he's not wrong. Number 10. This is a little high. Caleb Williams. Maybe not. Here's where it gets interesting. For quarterback, Seattle's Sam Darnold, Jordan Love, and Jaden Daniels were very close in voting for the 10th spot. So we took the tiebreaker, gathering input from several general managers and executives. Why did Williams barely win out with the final spot? He's the hardest of the 4 teams to prepare for or defend. I love that takeaway. This is what Jalen Hurts used to be difficult at, was defending him. That's what used to be difficult, was defending him. It's not that difficult to defend Jalen Hurts any longer because he's not a dual threat guy. And when you become a non-dual threat guy, well, you're like John McMullen said, you're like taking Superman's cape off. So I think Caleb at 11. Now here's where it gets even more interesting, as Jeremy Fowler said. 11 is Sam Darnold. 12 is Jaden Daniels. 13 is Jordan Love. 15 is Brock Purdy. He has got 2 superpowers. Layering the ball in short area quickness to stay alive. He's elite in those areas, says an NFL executive. Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence, and the last guy at number 17 is Jalen Hurts. I know it's been up and down, but I'm still betting on the Super Bowl credentials and intangibles and toughness, AFC coach said about Jalen Hurts. And yet he's 17th, according to NFL executives. Here's the point here when you look at this. I mean, all those guys that are ranked above Hurts, those are people you start teams with. You guys start talking about potentially trading. What would your market value be for a guy that the thing in his comment section is about a team? And it's nothing to do with all these other guys. They talk about individual skill set in the pocket, throwing anticipation, handling pocket pressure, pre-snap reads, post-snap reads. There's none of that. And again, like I said, if you were going to start a football team, that's not your guy. And so help me out here, understand this. How can you have the second-rated roster in pro football and the 17th best quarterback, according to executives? The worst guy in your huddle is your quarterback, according to NFL executives. Am I wrong? The worst dude in your huddle is your quarterback. That's not me. That's NFL executives saying that. I mean, you've got Mulata ranked high. You've got Lane still ranked high. You've got Landon ranked high. Barkley was the 3rd best back. Hell, you got some people saying that A.J. Brown will be replaced and that Devontae's a better wide receiver. But then when you get to the quarterback, he's in honorable mentions, and he's in the middle of the league, like the 17th or the 20th worst quarterback in pro football. Make that make sense. Again, I didn't put that out there. NFL executives have put this out there. So don't make this my comments. This is what they're saying about your football quarterback. You got the second best roster next to the Rams. And you've got the 17th. Here, let's go here with Chris Sims. Here's who Sims is not that far off the executives. Sims has Josh Allen 1, Burrow 2, okay? Lamar 3, I think that's high. Mahomes 4, Stafford 5, Caleb 6, I think that's high. Justin Herbert, Drake May 8, Jaden Daniels 9, Mayfield 10, Prescott 11. I think that's kind of where I, look at Trevor Lawrence and go, dude, you're 12. I mean, he's an enigma a little bit. Got Golf at 13. Sam Darnold 14. Jordan Love 15. Bo Nix 16. Brock Purdy 17. Daniel Jones 18. Malik Willis 19. CJ Stroud 20. And Jalen Hurts at 21. So you got NBC putting Hurts at 21. And you've got NFL executives putting Jalen Hurts at 17. How can you have the second best roster in the NFL and arguably one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, according to the NFL executives? And then you throw the words intangible. Okay, I believe there are conversations for that. I do. I'm not saying you can dismiss those. Like I said, I'm going to give you a fair assessment. Hey, and do me a favor. Don't make these my comments, even though I've been telling you this for 5 years. Now here, I heard Zander say something earlier, and I'm going to ask you flat out here this question, okay? And Big Z said something interesting. By the way, he'll be with us at 3:30. Gary Cobb will be with us at 4:30. He said, do you think Jalen Hurts is regressing as a player? Well, let me add this onto it. Is Jalen Hurts regressing as a player, or is the roster regressing? And most notably, the roster on offense. Jalen Hurts has a huge sidebar story this year. You know what that is? Can he win with lesser talent? You don't have AJ. You're older. Your offensive line, personally, I think it's going to be better, but not 24 level. It's not going to be historic. So, is Hurts taking steps backwards? Well, if he's not running, he's a lesser player on a lesser roster. I don't know how you don't tie that in. If the quarterback doesn't want to run and you've got a lesser roster, the quarterback is a lesser player on a lesser roster. How am I wrong? I mean, how am I wrong? Lesser roster, and the player doesn't want to run. Either by design or because these guys, as I said at the beginning, you know what's funny? 5 years ago, I made this comment. Dual threat guys don't have high ceilings. This is not going to be a 10, 15-year thing. This is going to be like 8, 9 years, tops. And you're going to get great production. But it's going to fade quicker than a guy who's a pocket guy. The reason that Randall Cunningham could play until his late 30s was because Randall was good in the pocket. There's a reason why a guy like Phillip Rivers could play until he's 44, because he's great in the pocket. He's not relying on athleticism. Tom Brady never relied on athleticism to play the quarterback position. He relied on playing from the pocket, which means you have a longer lifeline than running from the pocket. Common sense. The roster's starting to get old. We can't win because Hurts, he can't carry. Well, wait a minute now. Now, what they're trying to do, too, is what we've been pointing out this entire offseason. is that they're going schematically to what these guys are being considered better players than Jalen. All those players that are above Jalen, that's what the Eagles want. Sills, so you think having his best season in 23, then winning the Super Bowl, being removed from the bulk of the O, stunned his development? 38-58, 23 touchdowns, 15 picks, and 60 rushing touchdowns. What happened? I'll tell you exactly what happened. The fumbles and the 15 INTs and the first 4 games in 24, that ended his development in Philly. Here's what's been developed with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. His mind and his desire. That's what's been developed, not a skill. He's a lesser player today than he was in 22. Every single player will see that. And by the way, if they take the tush push away, those rushing touchdowns, they absolutely go away. Half of his rushing touchdowns are tush push from a yard out. So again, and by the way, folks, do me a favor. These comments are made by NFL executives. Don't make them mine. These are not mine. This is how the league sees them. And what's crazy is, like I said, here, the best rosters in the NFL, after an all-season filled, NFL executives have ranked the top rosters and starting lineups in the NFL. Rams 1, Eagles 2, and yet your quarterback is ranked near 20th. He's the worst guy in the huddle, according to NFL executives. Just saying. Now, again, Jalen Hurts this year is going to have to prove that he can do what Josh Allen and what Patrick Mahomes does. You know what that is? Win without a loaded roster and lesser talent. This is exactly why his production has gone down. O-line got bad last year. Hurts had no answers. Couldn't carry a football team. That's why it never clicked. It's Kevin Patullo. You couldn't rise above Kevin Patullo? Hey, dude, players, it starts with them, the Jimmies and Joes. Bill Belichick won 4 football games his final year, I think, in New England. Was he a lesser coach than when he won 14 games? No. He didn't have Tom Brady. He didn't have great players around him. The cabinet, after 20 years, eventually went dry, and there wasn't anybody retooling it. This comes down to players. This comes down to Howie putting the guys in the building. Hey, eventually, Lane Johnson gets old. Father Time hits everybody. Injuries hit Landon Dickerson. Hurts not running. Different scheme and skill sets. Lesser coaches being hired. All of it. Okay? When you got a quarterback in Buffalo or in Kansas City that carry football teams, or a guy in Cincinnati with the 29th worst O-line in football carrying teams to 9-10 wins, I don't think you understand. Not every organization is the same. Some organizations want to win. Some organizations want to show up. Some organizations don't give a shit. You think Arizona gives a shit about winning a Super Bowl? Based on what? Okay? And by the way, once again, you see this? You can listen to this guy, or you can listen to a dude that thinks I'm one of the smartest guys that cover the game. It's okay, Reyes. You're a numbnuts. Come on with Josh Allen and not having a roster. BS. Hey, dude, like I told you before about Josh Allen, I do think the roster has gotten better. But let's take a look at who Josh Allen is throwing the fucking football to. Okay? And then you tell me if it's been in the conversation of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. You tell me. Here's who this guy's throwing to on his football team a year ago. Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, 2 tight ends. And then Keon Coleman, who had 400 yards. That's who that dude's throwing the football to. Give me a break. Not in the same conversation. Not even remotely close. And that's why they won. And that's why they won. They've got Allen and him. Correct. There's 2 dudes in that offense. You've got a first-round pick and the 3rd pick overall in Barkley. You've got 2 number 1s at wide receiver. And Makai Lemon coming in this year. You had one with AJ and Devontae. You got another guy sitting here in Hollywood Brown who was a former number 1. They don't have that shit in Buffalo. So the reason they will never hire an experienced coordinator is because Sirianni will have no control. Also, it will mean front office, no control. Correct. Hey, by the way, isn't it funny? Executives agree with me and completely disagree with you. Here, watch this. Still said Josh Allen lost Diggs and won the MVP on Friday, but he forgot to mention Diggs left Allen and went to the Super Bowl. Okay. Great. He went to a Super Bowl with the Patriots, and he had very little to do with it. And Allen won the Most Valuable Player Award, playing great for 6 straight months, not 60 minutes. And what are you saying? And Stephon Diggs right now is looking for a job. Sills, they say Josh Allen has no wide receivers to throw to, but yet who's catching 4,000 yards and winning him MVPs? Well, let's take a look at that. So here's exactly last year. Shakir at 700 yards, Kincaid at 5, Knox at 400, Coleman at 400, Palmer had 300, Ty Johnson had 263. I don't know. Sills, with respect to Allen and Herbert, they aren't stupid. I'm sure they could see they're working with lesser talent. But why aren't they pressuring their franchise to bring in better players? Hoss, I think they do. I think Joe Burrow has done that. And that's why they went out and got Dexter Lawrence. Does where your offense and defense rank at the end of the year matter more or individual talent? Does your team as a whole better or individual talent? David, when you see what a team is ranked, those are called trends. Like I read you a trend, and here's a trend, okay? In the 6 losses that the Eagles had a year ago, they gave up 170 yards rushing and 5 yards a carry. Do you think that's a trend? All 6 of your losses, you got the ball ran down your throat at 5 yards a carry. Do you think that's a trend? Those aren't just numbers. Those are trends. When you play a running team, Vic Fangio's running teams have problems. He has problems defending them. Get this. This guy thinks that 5 yards a carry is a ranking. It's not a ranking. It's what you gave up in those games. 170 yards rushing and 5 yards a carry. It's not a ranking. It's a trend. If Hurts succeeds in this brand new offense, why would you think he's going to succeed in this new offense? I have a feeling Hurts still won't get credit from the outsiders, but Philly will appreciate it and extend him. Week 11, you're going to be writing comeback letter to AJ. Let's see here. Okay, get this. See, these are terrible. I should like post a book on how you teach offensive skill set. And how this right here, what Jay is saying, is so off base. If your coach is calling hitch routes 70% of the time, Jay, why is he calling hitch routes? Because the quarterback, he thinks, could only run a certain style of play. You don't run plays just to run them. You run them to the player's skill. You don't go like this. Hey, Matthew Stafford, I want you to run an RPO. Jay thinks you go, run an RPO, Matthew Stafford, because the coordinator called it. Dude, if you have a player with a certain skill, you make a playbook to that skill set. An RPO quarterback has limited plays that he can run from the passing game for a reason. It's because you take up a lot of the passing from the pocket with the ground game. But when you start adding more passes to a dual threat guy who's not running, that's when you're taking the comments of dropping in completion percentage, throwing high-risk passes. The Eagles don't throw high-risk passes. They throw to the sidelines, and he rolls right, and he sprints out. That's why they don't throw high-percentage passes. Try to understand what I'm saying. Would you take a team with a top 10 offense and a top 5 defense, or have a better individual player like the Eagles do? I would clearly take the top 10 offense and the top 5 defense and the 20th best quarterback. I surely will. And that's what Seattle did. Okay? That's basically what Seattle did. Seattle had a really good defense and a really good bunch of skill set guys on offense. They protected the ball in the playoffs. Darnold didn't turn it over. And they won because they were better than the Rams on defense. They were better. What won that game for the Rams, or excuse me, the Seahawks were better on defense. What's Jalen's numbers on explosives in comparison to those other bum-ass quarterbacks? Hey, dude, don't get mad because the NFL doesn't see your quarterback as a top 15 guy. I mean, that's basically what they do. They see your guy as a top. They don't see him as a top 15 quarterback. That's not true, Sills. Petula was questioned about his play calling in the run game. And he said sometimes we just have to run the ball to run it. Yeah, because that's what they are. They're not a pass team. 29th and 23rd the last 2 years. You're not a pass team, dude. We had to run the ball to run the ball. Yes, because the quarterback is not efficient on third down. Hey, and by the way, if the fucking offensive coordinator is such dog shit, why are you hiring another no-name guy? Because it doesn't matter. Do you know why they hired Sean Mannion? Another no-name guy? Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Or they would have hired a Vic Fangio on offense. By the way, something else which is crazy. They went the complete polar opposite from Brian Dable and a Mike McDaniels. You know why? Because no quality coordinator wanted to come to Philadelphia and work with Nick and to be told risk averse. Let's ask yourself this question. Do you think that Nick Sirianni would run risk averse if he had one of those top 10 quarterbacks like Mahomes or Stafford? Do you think he'd run risk averse and say, hey, don't throw the ball, Patrick Mahomes? Do you think he would tell Patrick Mahomes not to throw the ball? Or Matthew Stafford? Do you actually believe that? Nick Sirianni's Barry Switzer. You really believe? Well, again, and that's the injustice of how the Eagles coach their quarterbacks. Because if you think that Nick Sirianni would play risk averse with a 5-time Super Bowl appearance, 3-time champion, that's why he's not a good coach. Andy Reid doesn't play risk averse with Patrick Mahomes. He plays it with McNabb. Hey, yeah, Matthew Stafford, I don't want you to throw the ball as much. Or, hey, Joe Burrow, don't throw the ball. Hand it off to a lesser player. Really? So I'm going to take the ball out of Mahomes' hand and give it to a lesser guy to win a game. It really. Hey, and by the way, these comments about Jalen in this aren't mine. They're NFL executives that are saying this. So you can get your panties in a bind all you want. I mean, you guys are getting upset with what people are like making comments. Like, listen to this about, here, pick a guy. Let's pick a guy. Joe Burrow. Burrow's durability concerns pushed him out of the top 3. Absolutely true. Okay? No doubt about it. Several voters took him out of the top 5 due to his 16 games missed since 23. Rightfully so. When it comes to pure pocket play, Burrow is considered the closest thing to Tom Brady. You're never going to confuse Jalen Hurts with Tom Brady. Never. And by the way, Jalenites, this is where I'm going to tell you something else. When you're talking about a quarterback who's like not a top 15 guy, what kind of market do you think that would be on a trade? Like, who would trade for him to build a team around him? That means you got to spend enormous money on wideouts, running backs, O-line, not just a quarterback. Because Hurts has not proven, really since 22, that he could carry a football team. Now, I'll tell you what, I think you could talk somebody like Cleveland into it. Or potentially in a couple of years, Cam, I'm not a high, listen, I love the University of Miami. You know that, but I'm not high on Cam Ward. Okay? I'm not. Hey, by the way, these are not my comments. These are executives in the NFL. Say whatever you want. I know some of you will try to make them mine because we've been saying this for 5 years. Let's see here. Offense was down across the board last year. Okay? Offense was down across the board. You know why? So when your O-line plays not well, good. Your running back's not good. Your quarterback can't elevate them, right? Okay. Understood? Let's see here. Not your comments, but you're vouching for him. Yeah, because I've been saying him for 5 years. Seals, I think Hurts has done enough to deserve the benefit of the doubt that he has the mental to learn something new and get better. And I have completely said this, SS, and I have not wavered on it. Jalen Hurts should get the entire 2026 season to prove his point and to prove everyone wrong and even to convince the Eagles that he can move forward with what they're trying to do. I completely 1000% agree with you that he deserves this. And by the way, guys like Jay, stop fucking bringing up 2022. It's over. Let's see here. I could care less about Jalen Hurts. I just like the Eagles logo, a color where I don't know what that means. It's just people have to realize these executives are going off production, nothing else. They're going off of production and talent. Correct. It's got nothing to do with wins or intangibles. They're looking at it as talent. Okay? Let's see here. Been wrong for 5 years straight. This list doesn't prove you. I've been not wrong for 5 years straight. That's absolutely. You wish I was. Again, I don't want to go over the record, but in 22, I did say you'd go to the Super Bowl. 23, I said you'd have a nuclear meltdown, and you did. 24, unreal. Never in a billion years that I get this. I was more wrong on Barkley than I was on Hurts. I was more wrong on Barkley. Hurts didn't play well that year. 2,900 yards and 18 touchdowns. Dude was taken completely out of the picture. In 25, we were nails dead on right. He couldn't carry the team, and he wouldn't when asked to throw the ball more. Never got going, and I know it's Kevin. Well, get this. 26 is going to be this. Exactly what the NFL executives are saying. Hey, in December, we're going to find out who's right. Be prepared. Get this. Don't get mad at me on how the league sees your guy. The league looks at the Eagles and says this: you have the second best starting lineup in pro football. And of all the contending quarterbacks that are on those contending teams, you have the least and the less talented. Who's got great intangibles? That's how that reads. You've got a really good starting lineup, and of all the contending teams, you've got the least talented quarterback who shows great intangibles. And this, how else do you read it? How else do you read that? Oh, and by the way, something else that will be put on display this year. I want to see if Jalen Hurts elevates Devontae Smith into being a number one. He's never been a number one wideout, like ever. Never made a Pro Bowl. He's never really been in the conversation for a Pro Bowl. Will he become that? We'll see. Attention to all us Eagle fans. Stop worrying where Hurts is ranked. Put your energy towards winning games with him. That's not a bad take either, Danelle. No way. Get this. You had an 11-win football season a year ago that looked like a 500 football team and played like one. What quarterbacks have proven they've carried a football team? Only quarterback you could say has carried a team would be Wentz in 19. Even Allen had a great defense running back. Burrow has top weapons. This guy completely misses half the other parts of the football team. Allen has had a good cast, a really good running back, a good O-line. He has not played with any star wide receivers or any star offensive people until a year ago when Cook broke out. So much so the quarterback, I mean, they got rid of Brian Dable, and Burrow has played with the worst O-line in football for 5 years. By the way, we are validated by all the things we've said that the NFL executives see it our way, not your way. Hey, you could disagree with me all day today. Bottom line, that's not how the league sees them. And when the league puts a designation on you, you can't outrun that. You'll never outrun that narrative. Ever. It's like being a white corner. You must be slow. Even if you're not. It's not the point. It's a narrative. I mean, Hurts being a second rounder. Hey, get this. Get this too, like I said. This thing by Jeremy Fowler is not media people, and it's not ESPN. It's NFL general managers. I know one GM who took that survey. We talked to him over the weekend on Sports Grid, on my weekend show. And yeah, that is passed out by Fowler, who keeps it confidential. 32 general managers and 32 coaches and scouts that he gets. It's like 98 people that he gets that are league-wide. For these executives tried to lower his market value just in case they want to for him. Yeah, I don't think that. Dude had a bad year. He doesn't deserve to be in the top 10, point blank. Hey, Prince, as a skill, I don't think he'll ever be like a top 13 guy. However, if he does do what they think and want him to do in this offense, it'll be one of the greatest turnarounds from a player being this. And I'll even say this, Prince, he'll be the most versatile quarterback I've ever seen. That can go from one style of play to throwing the ball 638 times. It'll be one of the greatest turnarounds I've ever seen. Still, so then why didn't you like those same executives ranking Carter top 3? I think Carter being ranked top 3 is based on skill set alone. No question. Okay? And my question back to you, Archie, if he's the third best defensive tackle, where's his fucking deal? If the Eagles think he's the third best defensive tackle and that he has as much talent as Jeffrey Simmons, where's his contract? How did it go from a no-brainer to a pause? You tell me, Arch. Where's the deal? If he's the third best DT, interior defensive lineman in pro football, where's the contract? Oh, don't give me technically shit. You know exactly what they're doing now. You kept telling me, and everyone kept telling me this past offseason, they were saving money getting rid of Sweat and Milton because they had to sign Carter this offseason. Where's the deal? He's eligible for a contract extension. Now you're giving me bullshit here. You had 2 years remaining on A.J. Brown's deal, too. And you gave him a contract extension. Technically, Hurts should have a contract. Allen had Diggs for years being Stephon Diggs is not a top 10 wideout. Stop moving the needle. He's better. He is not better than Chris Jones. Chris Jones shows up every fucking year. Carter has showed up 1 in his 3. Fell off the tank in his first year, really good his second year, and last year, underachieving. That has never been said about Chris Jones. Hey, dude, you want $35 to $40 million annually? You need to play great annually. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That he's played consistently like Chris Jones. Really. How can you make things up, dude? That's such a bullshit comment. He thinks that a guy who's played 1 season is a guy who's been more consistent than Chris Jones. Chris Jones is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay. Where's his contract? Yeah, no one cares. He's seen as a top 10 years in the past. Is what you have done for me lately, league. It is. No one cares. Move on. He'll be top 10 this year. Then what? Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's right. I'm in shambles. Oh, Sills, they're in shambles. Yeah, because you know why? James, now you're having other people than me saying it. Now you're having the league say it. And you know what, James? They're mad at the messenger for pointing it out. I mean, for pointing it out. Let's see. You're right. Stephon Diggs is Jamar Chase. Man. Maybe the quarterback makes the receiver too. He lost Stephon Diggs and was the most valuable player. Make that make sense. Okay. Hold on for a second. Let me go back here. Hey, David, if that's the case, that means in your eyes that Jalen Hurts will be a first-team all-pro quarterback and Devontae Smith will be the first-team starting all-pro wide receiver this year. Correct? Because you lost AJ. He's going to elevate. Is that right? Okay. I'm going to write that down for David. Put that on the receipt list. David, I lost AJ. Hurts and Devontae will be first-team all-pro. You know, I mean, Allen went on to win the MVP award. Eagles are aggressively manipulating the NFL salary cap to maintain a competitive roster by pushing $400 million in guarantees into the future, avoidable years. Listen, I'll tell you this, though. If there's one thing that I believe that they'll do, is that if you have Howie Roseman with that, Howie will figure out how to get around that $400 million, in my opinion. That's one part of the football team that I'm not mad at all. I'm mad. Okay. If he's the third best tackle, where's his deal? Where's his deal? Drew Rosenhaus is asking. I know that for a fact. Where's his contract? If he's the third best player in pro football at that position, why did Howie let Jeffrey Simmons get ahead of him? Now you're talking $37 million. It's coming. So RC, you believe that he's getting this contract before the start of the season, correct? I'm going to write that down. You believe that? Same with Hurts. So Hurts and Carter are getting their deals done in 15 days. Is that right? Sil's next offseason about to be nuclear content. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so Hurts and Carter aren't getting a deal next season. Oh, so next year. So you kicked the can down the road from a year ago. How come you flip-flopped? You flip-flopped from a year ago saying that it's a no-brainer that Carter's getting a contract. What happened? What happened? What happened? RC, what happened? Because you're flip-flopping. What happened? I mean, what happened? Oh, so you signed Jordan Davis, a two-down lineman, and yet Carter's the third best player? So you signed the lesser player? Huh. Interesting. You signed a two-down guy and supposedly the third best D tackle in pro football. You're kicking the can down the road. Interesting. Yeah, they're flip-flopping now. Eagle fans hold every other quarterback in the league more accountable than they do Hurts. It's always someone else's fault if Hurts doesn't perform well. That's a fact. Many cases, though, DFW, it is other people's fault. Hiring these incompetent coaches and playing the role. Sean Mannion and Kevin Patullo are not qualified to be offensive coordinators in pro football. They are not qualified. Because you were a quarterback or you draw plays on a chalkboard doesn't mean you're qualified. And even if you think they are, since when does the Philadelphia Eagles turn themselves into a training wheels football team for a coordinator? So you believe in training wheel coordinators for a Super Bowl MVP? How's that make sense? Tom Brady has never had an incompetent coordinator around him, and nor has Mahomes, and nor has Stafford, and nor has Golf. All these guys get the elite of the elite. Clint Kubiak is dealing now with Fernando Mendoza. I mean, think about that. The two coordinators in the last 2 years are not qualified. They're not qualified OCs. Whether you think that guy's going to be a great coordinator or what, this and that, right now on July 13th, he's not qualified. And you have nothing to tell me that he is. Oh, he played the position. You can't make this shit up. How does Lurie feel about these quarterback rankings? How does Jeffrey Lurie, Khalid, feel about negative publicity about anything Philadelphia Eagles? Okay, now, not qualified or quarterback limits them. Icy, it's a great take. Icy, ask yourself this. If I've got a lesser skill set quarterback to Matthew Stafford, do I have to hire a big-time coordinator when the quarterback is limited in his skill? No. Personally, this year, I think you're going to see more cosmetic changes than you are actual play changes. Like, they're going to try to confuse you on alignment. I've already spoken to Chris Shula on this with the Rams. I love Chris Shula, friends with his dad, had a chance to talk to him over the weekend. I've already told him, I don't think Philadelphia is going to do as many play changes as more so, in my opinion, schematic look changes, formation changes, under center, rotating guys, more groupings. I think you're going to try to use that slot as a little bit more to try to threaten the hash marks. Other than that, I really don't think you're going to see a lot of craziness when it comes to playing what? What are you going to do? Have like some sort of high-skilled passing attack? Okay, very simple. Guy, if you can't understand this, this is 101 football. How is a quarterback limited when you say if Andy was Jalen's coach, he would be way further as a quarterback than he is now? Because they would have, because they would have stayed with what they were doing in 22 in Kansas City, then moving away from 22. How do you not follow along with that? Since 22, they're not coaching him. Has any coach since Jalen Hurts 2022 season, has any coach coached him the same way as Shane Steichen? Yes or no? Okay? Has any coach since 22 coached him the same way as Shane? Anybody? No, they haven't. They've moved further away. Correct. Andy wouldn't have done that. Hey, Prince, Andy wouldn't have done that. Andy would have evolved that. In my opinion, Prince, Andy would have made and done the things How can Lamar Jackson become a better passer? I didn't think that guy could hit a broadside of a barn. All of a sudden now he's a better passer. Why? Because they've developed him. Sills, do you realize the Eagles are overpaid this coming season in coaching? They overpaid just to have an experienced play caller as the team pass coordinator. Why have they believed in Nick and Sean M? Yeah, because you're talking about getting Josh Grizzard in there. That's kind of like their fail-safe. Jalenites are up in arms about this list because someone disrespected their Messiah. It's not someone. It's like, bro, it's over 60 people in the league. Hey, Greg, that Super Bowl MVP doesn't mean shit to executives. I mean, shit. Seals, am I wrong to say I blame coaching of Jalen Hurts? I think you could put a percentage on that, SS. Hurts has all the mental intangibles to be great. I agree. Hey, listen, I'll tell you one thing that I'll give you about Jalen Hurts. And I'll tell you probably one of the reasons why Mike Tomlin loves the kid. He's not going to let go of the rope. That guy's going to hang on to the rope until the very last moment. And you want that in every single player you have. And I believe that in him. Dude, like I said, you have never in any way here ever heard me say bench Jalen Hurts. I have never said that. I have never said, let's take a look at someone else. I have never said they should go out and trade for some. I've thrown out, do you think they would do this? Maybe this, if that doesn't happen this year. I've never said, go get someone now. I have never said that because I have respect for the 50-18 record. Okay? I do. Try working with the guy and give him somebody that knows what they're doing. SS, you would think, let's hire a fucking guy that knows what he's doing. I'm sorry, dude. Everybody who says that they like Sean Mannion as coordinator, and that includes the players on the team, it's wishful thinking. He's not qualified. He's not qualified for that team. He's qualified for the Jets or Arizona or Carolina. Let him go and work on his skill set somewhere else. Why with a Super Bowl number 2 rated roster? So let me get this right. You have the second best roster, according to NFL executives, and you hired a guy who's not qualified to be your OC. I mean, since Deion Branch won the Super Bowl MVP with the Pats, have you ever seen anyone put him in a conversation with Rice, Owens, Moss, Carter, or Fitzgerald? Shit, you can also do Edelman. Seals, I agree with you 100% about Jalen's Super Bowl MVP. It's the Jalenites that need to realize that shit doesn't matter, and they need to hang that up already. I mean, look, dude, Kenneth Walker just won the Super Bowl MVP. Seattle had no intention of re-signing that guy. Zero. Wasn't important to them. They didn't even offer him a contract. See ya. So, Sills, are you expecting a big season from Devontae, or will the Eagles have a Packer-Buffalo approach where no true number one? I think that's what the Packer approach is going to be. Okay? And again, I think it's going to be more by committee. That's why if you see 1,200 yards by Devontae Smith and 90 catches, I mean, how about this? If you see 1,500 yards with one wide receiver, and that means you have to have a receiver or the collection of these guys pick up for Devontae. Really? Still's too concerned with the name on the contract instead of the full resume. A team resume doesn't mean dick. Look at what people are talking about purpose. Here, let's do this. Let me go here and show you something else. Okay. So, let's do corners. No, let's do edge rushers. Here's what executives in the NFL think about edge rushers. Here's the best. Myles Garrett was on the Browns. Horrible team. Micah Parsons, Cowboys. Haven't really won anything. Now he's on the Packers. Haven't won anything. Will Anderson's been to the playoffs. Good player. Great player, actually. And hasn't been to a Super Bowl or conference title. Max Crosby hasn't been anywhere. Aiden Hutchinson's been to an NFC championship game and has been a good player. Danielle Hunter, really no impact in the postseason. TJ Watt, I can't remember the last time that guy won a playoff game. At the end of the day, guys, great players are on shitty teams. And that's how executives in the league look at players. They don't look at team accomplishments. They look at how good you are, your production. Jeffrey Simmons is another great example of that. Simmons plays on the Titans. He plays on the Titans. And now he's the highest paid player in the league at his position. And he set the market. It's got nothing to do with that shit, dude. I mean, it's got zero to do with that. And one more time, I'll say it again to you. Okay? Look, the one comment that they make about, I think the intangible does matter because that's not letting go of the rope. Here's what I'll say about your boy. He'll make 15 bad plays in a game and not complete a pass in the second half. But the one pass he does complete, it's the game winner. Jalen Hurts, if you were going to put something on a shirt, it'd be gamer. He's a gamer. Okay. I knew these. Get this. What's crazy? Look, the Chris Sims list is stupid, but he's not that far off. Okay? He's not. He's not that far off when you're talking about, like, where I think he had him 21st. And the executives have Hurts 17th. All right, Gary Cobb's going to join us. That'll be at 4:30. We're 15 days out from the start of camp. By the way, Friday, the Seahawks report. Saturday, the 49ers report. How you doing? Okay? Without further ado, my man, Big Z, Zander Krause, joins us now. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Big Seals? How you doing, my man?
You knew that conversation with everybody was going to shake people's boots. And you knew that, I got to tell you one thing about Jalen. He is one of the more polarizing guys to have a conversation about because he's kind of an enigma on how to cover him. You see the intangibles, you see the resume, and then you listen to executives talking. And here, let me start it out here. Zander, so NFL executives think the Eagles have the second best roster in pro football and the 17th best quarterback in football heading into this year.
Right.
Give me your takeaway on that.
Well, I think it shows you that they're confident in the talent throughout the roster, and it may be even a little bit of a credit to Howie Roseman. You know what I mean? I think that could be a part of it. But look, Hurts wasn't the biggest part of the team or in terms of the offense in 24 when they won it all. And then when you come back and he didn't really deliver that much last year. So I think there's a little bit of the league is a little more down on him right now, and I can understand that. Trying to look at it objectively. So I think that's what it says about him. But look, he's got every opportunity to go and correct that narrative. He does. So to me, it's in his hands. It's in his camp, and I think he can go and do it. But I'm not going to make too much of it. I mean, look, he's coming off a down year. When you come off a down year, you're down on the list in the summer. When he came off the Super Bowl year, there was a lot of great lists, and he wasn't great that year. He was good. He wasn't great. So, I think it's par for the course, but he's got to correct it. I think that's for sure.
Do you think, in your opinion, that Nick Sirianni, if he had Joe Burrow or Matthew Stafford or Josh Allen,
probably not,
would play risk averse?
No, I don't think so.
Why do you think he does?
Well, I think that whenever they've ramped up the passing, at least in the last 3 years, to a degree of let's pass to win games, it's resulted in a lot of turnovers. You remember the first 4 games, obviously, of 24. I think there was 8 or 7 turnovers in 4 games. So they switched off of it. 23 was obviously a big turnover year with an increase in passing for Jalen Hurts. The defense was horrible that year, so Jalen had to throw a lot. That meant more turnovers. And then last year, I mean, he wasn't horrible turning the ball over last year. I know he had I think he had 6 picks
outside of that Charger game.
That's what I mean. 4 of them came in 1 game.
Yeah. No.
So I don't think he was horrible with turning the ball over last year, but I think they've kind of. It's almost like they've turtled up into their shell. You know what I mean? Like they don't play aggressive. Look, it's been one of the knocks that I think many Eagle fans who have a desire for a more aggressive style of football have. But when they keep winning, I don't want to say there's egg on our face, but it makes it hard to criticize. And that's where when you get anybody who does criticize or doesn't love it, you're called a hater or whatever, which I don't really understand. I mean, I think you can acknowledge that you're good or that you win games and also look in places you need to be better, right? You can accomplish something in life and business and at work, but that doesn't mean you did it perfectly. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of context to it, but that's kind of how I see it. I mean, I don't think they would play risk averse. I think the way Jalen's played has put them in that mode more so than normal.
Do you believe that he's a product of the talent on the football team and that he can't carry a football team? And what I mean by that is there's not very many quarterbacks that can rise above lesser talent. Allen is kind of one of them guys. I think Burrow is as well. Remember, Burrow has the 29th ranked offensive line in pro football. They don't have
the hardware. So I think you're right that those guys can handle more, maybe less around them. But at the same time, they haven't won like Jalen Hurts has won. Now, I'm not saying the circumstances.
You just said that's Howie, though, too.
Right. It's Howie. It's a lot of stuff. But, the other guys who can win more with less, they technically don't win more.
Well, I think these lists sometimes miss one point. Why don't you name and why don't you put a list up of the general managers and rank the general managers next to the quarterbacks? And then what you do then is you do this. Who's the best combination of quarterback and general manager? Hurts should be really high on that list, don't you think? I do.
Yeah, I think it's more general manager.
Well, because how he builds the team to the quarterback, whereas sometimes I think some of these general managers rely on the quarterback to carry the team.
Yeah, well,
Brett Veach. What do you think? What has Brett Veach done the last 3 years to help Mahomes?
Yeah, not much. But no, I think it's Howie. I mean, look, Howie deserves a great deal of credit. There's no doubt about that. By the way, I've been breaking boxes down for an hour and a half. I mean, I'm like
water.
Yeah, I know that. But I got to get them all in a can. I mean, I've been I've been ripping them, cutting them, box cutter, I got this couch still as this box came. And they got to put a couch in this box. So this isn't like a paper thin box here. This is like the thickest cardboard I've ever held in my life. I need like 3 box cutters to get through this thing. So I was shredding that. I'm like winded. I just got back in here.
How them hands feel?
Hands feel fucking good, baby. Sturdy. Come on, Sileo.
Oh my God. All right. You think the Eagle front office still has the confidence in Jalen Hurts heading into this year?
I think they have confidence in him, but they clearly don't have that much confidence. I mean, they would have given him the contract. So I think they're in a little bit of wait and see mode, and I think that's fair to be in. You know what I mean? I think that's fair to be in. So we'll see.
Jalen Carter's contract. We're 15 days out here, homie.
I know.
What's up?
I think they're waiting on him too.
15 days out. Went from a
well, let me ask you, because this is where I got to call Sileo out in his bullshit.
I'm just saying, I've been waiting.
I know you're right, but like
this
is my call out.
All right,
you're going to chirp them, and I understand because they're not going to give him the deal. But if they gave him the deal, you'd be sitting there saying, so you give a guy $35 million off a shit year? So in a way, it's a lose-lose on the National Football Show.
It is.
I think the smart thing for them to do at this point was wait. He's got 2 more years left under contract in Philadelphia. They picked up the 5th-year option at $27 million, fully freaking guaranteed. It's not like the dude's making baby peanuts. And dude, Jalen, it's not that big of a deal. Carter, go be who you say you can be. If you go be, I'll tell you what, there'll be a $40 million deal waiting for him at the end of the year if he goes and is who he says he is. So to me, it's part of life. Go and earn it. You earn it, it'll be there waiting for you.
Let me hook you up, folks. If Jalen Carter has an all-pro first team type of year, they'll demand a trade.
No, he won't. He'll get 40.
Okay. That means, okay, get this. So you're going to pay him 40, 65 for your great quarterback, 38 for your corner and your other guy, my boy, Cooper DeJean. Man, you got a lot of money here coming up there.
I know. Well, I think the bigger one there is actually Hurts, Sills. Because in all seriousness, I mean, if Hurts doesn't play to the level where Howie wants to give him a deal, that's going to free up a lot. Now, I don't know what they would do with quarterback, but the cap's going to go. I mean, when's the new TV deal? Anybody have any idea? I don't know. I think it's 28.
Yeah, but they're demanding that they increase that in this offseason 50%. I don't believe they're going to get that much, but with the new TV deal and with gambling now being pushed in with FanDuel in DraftKings, they're expecting that cap to go up 25% March 17th.
Yeah, so in the next 2 years, though, how much is the cap going to go up? Another $60 million?
Probably $60, $75 million.
So, I mean, there's a lot of money to be accounted for there. Now,
you see, it's one thing I do have to adjust my mentality around, too, is that
yeah, dude, the money just inflates.
You got edge rushers making $50 million now.
Dude, look, I know you won't criticize this guy because he's a Miami Hurricane player. And I don't mean this as a criticism of him. I just mean to your point about adjusting. We have to factor for inflation in our analysis. Jalen Phillips is making $30 million. Sills, 7 years ago, the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League was Carson Wentz at $32 million. Jalen Phillips is a top 25, 30 edge rusher. $30 million. You're like, dude, the money's getting crazy. So yeah, we got to escalate that.
And listen,
Jalen Carter, Jalen Hurts. I don't know on that. Cooper DeJean.
Now you got me. That's my boy there, man.
Sileo would break the rules to pay that.
Never,
guy.
oh yeah, I'll
Sileo
give that guy.
He can to get that guy paid.
I give that guy $40 million. I don't give a shit what he wants, man. I love that dude. That dude's my boy, man. So Big Z.
Uh-oh. Whenever I hear that tone, I know we got problems.
Big Sills 2026 executive list. Here's my list of quarterbacks that I would put. And I'm going to make one adjustment here because I'm sorry. I don't see him. And
is your adjustment Dak Prescott?
What?
Was your adjustment Dak?
Actually, it's Caleb.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Top 10. I mean, guys, Caleb Williams showed some great things. He's got great talent.
Oh, I've adjusted.
No, like I'm wondering something. Like, is there like an under the table deal here or something to try and get Chicago? Like Caleb Williams was okay. I think Caleb Williams has some really great talent. He's like the cover of Madden. He's like on every top quarterback list. I'm like, the guy completed like 54% of his passes last year.
And here's something else for me. I ain't putting no Jaden Daniels in my top 10 list, man. And I love that kid. I think that kid's got immense talent. But, bro, it can't be paper mache.
Sills, look at the build of that guy.
Yeah,
I said that to you when Jaden Daniels was balling out. I said, look, I think the kid's extremely
looks like a rubber band.
What do they call him? That kid, Jaden? I know why. I mean, look, dude is small, man, in the NFL.
He clearly had one of the greatest rookie seasons I've ever seen.
Oh, there's no doubt. I'm not trying to take away from him. I'm just saying I don't know how it
can't be a 1-year wonder, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a 1-year wonder. I just don't know if his body's built to hold up.
Okay, so here's my top 10. Heading into this year, dude, I got Brock Purdy at 10. I got Jordan Love at 9. I got Drake May at 8. I got Dak at 7. I got Lamar at 6. I've got Herbert at 5. I've got Burrow at 4. I've got Mahomes 3, Stafford 2, and Allen 1.
That's a really good list. The only one I don't like is Brock Purdy.
I just think that guy does such a good job at spreading the ball around, and he impressed me in that Eagle playoff game, dude.
Yeah.
Kittle goes out with 3 minutes left, and 3 minutes into the game, and he still figures a way to win.
Yeah,
I like him, dude. I do. I would put Burrow higher.
No, Burrow hasn't. I mean, Burrow's been injured a lot. I think where you had Burrow 4, right?
Yeah, Burrow 4.
Yeah, I think Burrow 4 is good. I think your list outside of I'd probably disagree with you on Purdy. Like I'd rather go probably Goff than Purdy.
Okay.
I don't know that I would. I'd have to look through the list of quarterbacks again.
Well,
but the top 9, I think I might have almost the same 9 as you.
They had Allen 1. I had Allen 1.
Let me pull it up on my.
They had Mahomes 2. I had Stafford 2. They had Stafford 3. I had Mahomes 3.
I like Stafford too.
I had Burrow 4. They had Burrow 4. I had Herbert 5. They had Lamar Jackson at 5. I had Lamar at 6. They had Dak at 6. I had Dak at 7. They had Herbert at 7. I had May at 8. They had May 8. I had Love 9. Man, if I had to pick a quarterback between Jared Goff and Jordan Love, and the teams were the same talent on them, I think loves to play there. I had Purdy 10. They had Caleb Williams. Dude, I just don't, Caleb Williams, 55% completion percentage. He's such a street yard player.
I know. I mean, look, the flashes are incredible.
Yes.
But you know who I'd put 10?
Who?
I wouldn't put Goff. You know who I'd put 10? You could probably guess.
Sam Darnold.
Yep. I mean, look,
he's
hear
changed
me
the
out.
pumpkin. He's changed the pumpkin narrative from, hasn't he? Yeah,
Well, and listen, I mean, look,
players
here's my problem with Philly fans sometimes. They talk themselves into their delusions. They tell me all the time that all Jalen Hurts does is win, which is fine. All right, I'm cool with that. Sam Darnold's won 31 games in 2 years, Sileo. 31 football games in 2 years.
2 different teams.
2 different teams. And he's now won in the playoffs. So, like, I think the guy deserves to crack the top 10.
Shows you what coaching matters, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Do you think this is an over-the-top comment when I say that Sean Mannion is not qualified to be your coordinator?
You don't think Sean Mannion is?
No.
You're not even in the mode of giving him an opportunity, or you just think it was a bad hire outright?
I just think no. I said he's not qualified. What's his qualifications?
Well, if somebody's not qualified for the job, then in theory, I guess by default, isn't that a bad hire?
Okay.
I guess they can outplay it and be a good hire, but yeah, I mean, Nick Sirianni wasn't qualified to be a head coach when he was hired.
Okay.
Andy Reid wasn't qualified to be a head coach when he was hired here.
Okay.
Doug Peterson wasn't qualified.
When Nick was hired, were you not coming off a 4-win season?
Correct.
Okay. You're not coming off an 11-win season and a Super Bowl MVP on your team when you're hiring a coordinator.
All right, that's fair.
I mean, Nick was hired with a team.
No, my point in saying that wasn't the circumstance was the same. My point in saying that is sometimes the unqualified guys can prove to be qualified. I mean, you got to build a name for yourself. You got to start somewhere. So Sean has every opportunity to do so.
Has that been the case in Philly on your coordinators that have not been qualified to be the head coach?
No, it hasn't. But I mean, Sileo, you think everybody sucks. You think the head coach sucks. You think the quarterback sucks. You think the coordinator sucks. Somebody's got to be good.
No. Okay, well, wait. When you're the New York Jets or you're the Carolina Panthers or you're the New Orleans Saints, you can make a gamble and hire a guy first year because you're trying to evolve the entire organization around that guy like a Sean Payton. But when you have a ready-made number 2 ranked offensive roster, and according to an NFL executives, you have the second best roster in the NFL, you're hiring people that don't have any qualifications whatsoever to be a coordinator? Right. How does that make sense? I mean, this is not I love how people, not you, Z, but I love
I understand what you're saying. It can work out though, right?
It hasn't yet, but yes.
It could though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. I'm fine with that then.
Yeah, because that's, again, wishful thinking.
Well, I don't disagree that it was a little head-scratching when they hired a first-year coordinator after Kevin Patullo. I don't disagree with that. I like Mannion, but I can understand where you're coming from. I mean, the other thing is this, and I think people turn a blind eye to this. All the coordinators that had pedigree in this hiring cycle did not want the Philadelphia job.
Correct.
Brian Dable flat out turned it down. Mike McDaniel didn't even take the interview with us. And I don't remember some of the other names that were out there. I know those were kind of the big 2. But so, the Eagles had 17 or 18 candidates, and they hired 3 of them, by the way.
Okay. So, I want to ask you something here, and you tell me who this is. So here's a coach that was in the league for 4 years. And he was 45 and 26. He had gone to 3 NFC championship games, and he won an NFC title and went to a Super Bowl and won it. You know who that is?
No.
Pretty good record, right?
Yeah.
That's Barry Switzer. So, when you tell me all the time that Nick to me is closer to Barry Switzer than he is to Doug Peterson.
Well, I mean, you're going back eras. I'm not a big fan of doing that. The game is so different now. I mean, the teams.
Well, if Jalen can be a product of the huddle and the talent around him, The coach can't?
Well, no, I didn't say that. My
Okay.
problem is, to you, everybody's a product of everything
No.
around them.
Yeah, well, players are Jimmy's and Joe's, yes. Jimmy's and Joe's. Correct.
So Jalen and Nick
Well,
and the
wait.
coordinators,
Okay. Well, Belichick
like everybody is a fucking
won 4
product.
football games his last year in New England. Was he a shitty coach? Or was there better Jimmy's and Joe's in New England?
Well, why does Tom Brady get on the show and tell me the most important guy in terms of winning in an organization from Monday to Saturday is the head coach of the organization?
Because he's jaded, because he was in an organization where one guy had the total say and the mallet. I'm going to hire this guy. I'm going to do this. We're doing that. I have total say on personnel. I have total say on style of play. I have total say on salary cap.
Do you think Nick Sirianni would suck in a different organization?
Yeah, I do. If he didn't have Howard. Yeah,
I do. Oh, it's silly.
Yes, I do.
It's silly. I tell you what.
If you put him in New York with the Jets, I don't know anybody who could win there.
You're getting even more grumpy and grouchy.
So wait a second. You really think that if you put Bill Belichick in New York with the Jets, that he couldn't? Bill Belichick said what? I never want to coach the Jets because of Woody Johnson.
And what's fucking Bill Belichick's record without Tom Brady?
Oh my God!
Wait! Answer the question.
Okay, let's take a look at this. I know he won a division title. I know he won 11 games without him.
Bill Belichick.
Okay.
Record without Tom Brady.
Okay, let's take
84 and 104, a 4.47 win percentage.
What's Bill Walsh's record without Joe Montana? What's let's see. Let's go Chuck Noll's record without
Bill Walsh without Joe Montana was 428 and 1.
Oh, gee. Interesting.
This one says 17-23 and 1. I'm not sure what it is.
Okay. What is Chuck Noll's record without Terry Bradshaw?
Oh, so every coach needs good players, but when Nick Sirianni gets in,
Jimmy's and Joe's.
Well, yes. Yeah. So, but you don't call those guys shitty coaches.
You're a product of your environment.
So is Nick.
And by the way, Bill Walsh picked the talent.
So why does Nick suck? Because he's not a good GM?
Because he has no say in his future.
Because he's not. So you don't think he's a shitty coach. You just don't think he's a GM.
And a play caller.
Wait, let's flush this out.
Okay.
You just think because he doesn't do as much as the other coaches.
Does he hire his coaches?
Huh?
Does he hire his coaches?
I'm told he is. I'm told he does. I don't know if I believe it.
Okay. Well, then if he does, the Kevin Patullo hire and the Sean Desai hire. How you doing?
All right. How's the Kellen Moore hire? How's the Shane Steichen hire? How's the Vic Fangio hire?
Okay. So he's hit or miss.
Well, but don't just point out the negative. I mean.
Oh, no. I'm pointing out the resume. So what propelled him to hire the greatness of Sean Mannion then?
I don't know. Apparently, what was the quote that came out about him? He's an evil genius.
Oh, he's an evil genius.
That's what Mailata called him.
Oh my God, man. They've been hanging out down at the Jersey Shore too long there at that fucking party there.
I'm not in the Jersey Shore. I'm in the beautiful, great state of Pennsylvania.
How about this, bro? So, everyone loves to shit on AJ because he's no longer part of your family. So everyone's like,
I just shit on AJ.
Not you. People were like, did you see Brady? Brady was not just shitting on AJ. He was shitting on the position. Because you got to remember what's happened and how the position.
Dude, he took a dump on AJ. Don't be John McMullen. John McMullen refuses to criticize AJ Brown. Tom Brady took a shit on AJ.
I actually heard him say all positions because it's exhausting. He wasn't he wasn't singling him out.
He didn't. Of course, he didn't call him by name, but he completely said the exact thing that AJ Brown was doing last year.
Okay,
literally to a T.
Okay. And
so that was a shot at AJ.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it wasn't directly, but the point was what Brady said and what AJ's actions were lined up perfectly.
Well, let me give you my opinion.
Okay, I'll hear it.
What, to me, because that Kelsey asked the question and used the reference of the AJ, in what happened. Brady went into saying that position is like the housewives of the NFL. And he's right. And so what happens is it becomes exhausting that you have to go, listen, if you're not going to get 12 balls this week, but you may get 3 the following week, you still got to be engaged. And it takes energy for these guys to do that. Well, the position has evolved to this, Zander. Back in the day, you didn't open your fucking mouth. You know why? Because receivers got destroyed if they opened their mouth with secondary guys. Right. So you weren't fucking chirping. Now you can chirp. And these guys are now a bigger part of the game. When Brady first came into the league, the running backs were the bigger part of the game, not the receivers. That's evolved. And that position is exhausting. That's why when you get a guy like Devontae, it's refreshing that you don't have a guy moaning and crying and bitching. You know who Devontae kind of reminds me of? Larry Fitzgerald a bit. You never heard him bitching. You never heard him complaining. He went out and did his job. We shall see what he does this year as being the number one guy. But I think that I don't think Brady was wrong in any way whatsoever. And I
don't think he was wrong either. But I think it was more at AJ than you're thinking.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I think you're going to miss that guy more than what everyone in Philly's thinking.
Well, that's a different point.
I know. That means this, though. I think you've got to suck that up a little.
You don't think the greatness of Makai Lemon and Dontavion Wicks will make up for it?
I hope that last name doesn't resemble like a broken down car. That's all I'm saying. Hey, that lemon guy better not be.
No, I just got back from Sorrento, Italy. There's lemon trees everywhere. Maybe that's what it resembles. The abundance of lemons.
I got a lemon tree. I got a couple lemon trees in my backyard.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Does that remind you of Italy?
A little bit.
Nice. So
yeah, we do here, man. All right, got another one here for you, Junior.
You like a lemon guy? Do you like eat the lemons or what?
Oh yeah, no, I love lemons.
Yeah, but are you like, some people are like afraid to eat the lemons because it's sour. I'm like, yeah, fucking eat the whole thing.
No way, I'll eat the whole thing. I'll slice it up, put it
in
my
me too. Me too. Not many people will do that.
So Z,
what's that?
Do you starting to get?
I can't believe notice AJ. I can't believe you don't think Tom Brady took a shit on AJ. He clearly took a shit on AJ.
How about Mike North not falling for any of my bullshit last Friday? He wasn't going for any of it, man.
Yeah, and how about Mike North coming on and backing me up in the first 2 sentences that he said? That was great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's because Mike North knows his shit.
Let's go here. So, scheme or Hurts? What will be the biggest problem this year for the Eagle offense? Or biggest success? Hurts or the new scheme?
I swear, when Sileo does show prep, he's like, how can I put Zander in the hardest possible position today? How can I make Eagle fans all over the map hate this guy?
I do not in any way try to do anything.
I think it's still the coach, actually. Dude, the guy isn't proving a fucking thing. Like you just said, like, I don't mind the hire. I think this might be a smart guy, but he's never called a play. I mean, I've watched Jalen's played for 7 years, but at the same time, Jalen's got to play better. There's no more pussyfooting around this anymore, folks. It's time for Jalen Hurts to play like an elite quarterback, or he's probably going to be out in Philly. So I think it's both of them, but I know you're going to force me to make an answer. I'm going to say that this new dude who's supposed to be bringing in this great scheme is going to have to prove that he's worth a damn too, because like you point out 3 times a week, he hasn't had a cup of coffee in the NFL, and he's now the offensive coordinator of one of the most high-profile teams in football. So I think he's got a lot to answer for.
Don't you agree that narrative that we brought up earlier is the one narrative that Jalen can really take away this year? He needs a loaded team to win.
Well, you just pointed out a bunch of coaches who also needed a good team to win.
I know.
Does Josh Allen need a good team to win?
Josh Allen needs a better team.
So he needs a good team to win because he had a pretty good team last year. He had a number 1 running back in football. I mean, he had a pretty good offensive line last year. I mean, Josh Allen had a pretty solid team last year, Sills.
It was a solid team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does all the other quarterbacks on your top 10 list, do they need a good team to win?
Well, let's take a look at that. That's a great topic. I love that topic now. I love that.
Look, I get what you're saying.
Okay,
yes,
so
Jalen needs talent around him.
Wait a second.
But none of the other guys who we give so much credit to have hardware.
Okay, I think you have just given the greatest topic maybe in my 5 years here. So I'm going to show you something here, folks.
Don't embellish.
Zander Krause just went here, and I love it. Okay, Z, let's go down that list of quarterbacks here. So where do you think the biggest hole is on the Eagle offense right now? Or do you think there is?
I think wide receiver is actually pretty weak. I mean, after Devontae Smith, I have no idea what they got there. Okay. I mean, they have a rookie. They have 2 reclamation projects in Hollywood Brown and Dontavian Wicks, and Darius Cooper and Johnny Wilson.
Okay.
Like, that's pretty weak. And then tight end, I think the depth at tight end is pretty horrible right now, too.
Okay. So let's start with the number 1 quarterback in pro football, according to executives in the NFL, in Josh Allen. Let's see how many holes he has on that Bills team. Also, a horrible wide receiving core. Dalton Kincaid is better. Dalton Kincaid, in my opinion, is better than Dallas Goedert. So I don't think that's awful.
Who was Josh Allen's receiver 1? Who was the top receiver on that team last year?
Tupac Shakur.
Khalil Shakir. I think that guy's not bad.
700 yards?
Yeah, that guy's a stiff.
Okay. So Allen's got a pretty good old line, too.
Yeah, but who's got more hardware?
Oh, no. Who's got better players?
But you're missing my point. I know
you're missing mine. You're spending $200 million for Hurts. They ain't spending $200 million.
I know, but if the other guys can't win without spending $200 million, then what's the fucking point?
I got it. They went to an AFC championship game with not a $200 million offense.
Okay, and they didn't win shit.
Correct.
So you would rather them
but not they went further than your team.
You would rather not spend $200 million to make it to the championship game and lose than spend $200 million and win it all?
No, I don't get the point. I'd rather have a lesser quarterback and a better roster.
Me too.
And that's what you have.
Yeah, so what's the problem?
Okay, no. We're going with what these other guys don't have and what Hurts does have and why you can win with a mid-level quarterback.
Well, I got a topic for you too coming up. Go ahead. Keep rolling.
As I continue.
I got another topic for you.
Okay, so here's Mahomes. Mahomes doesn't have a wide receiver. He's got an aging tight end. He's got a okay O-line this last year. There's nowhere, anywhere on that football team outside of Creed Humphrey that a guy would start in Philadelphia outside the quarterback. Is that correct? As a matter of fact, I got another better argument. Would you take James Cook or would you take Saquon Barkley in Buffalo?
In Buffalo?
Well, here, no. Who's better? Who's a better player? Barkley? Would you take Cook or Barkley as your running back?
Barkley.
So then that means there's not one guy in Buffalo's huddle that would start in Philly, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's nuance to that, though. That's not to say that James Cook's not a good player.
I didn't say that. I said who would start in Philly.
Well, what about your boy Lamar Jackson?
Hold on, I'm gonna get here. Hold on,
the only guy who breaks this bowl.
Bills and Chiefs don't have a starter that would start in Philly outside the quarterback. So let's go to number 3.
The only dude who this applies to is really Mahomes. He's the only one who can win.
Okay. So Matthew Stafford. Let's see. Puka could start over Devontae. He's a better player. So Puka. Who else? That'd be no one. You got a better O-line.
Where in LA?
Yeah. You got a better running back.
Wait a second. I would take both of their receivers.
No. You got Puka over your number one. I mean, yeah, I would take you're right. I would take Devontae Adams over the second wideout. So they got their wide receivers. Yes, they're wide receivers. I agree with you. But I would take your O-line and your running back and your tight end over Matthew Stafford's. So the only guys that would start would be Puka and Adams. So there's 2 dudes on 3 teams.
Well, what about their tight end? Don't they have like 3 tight ends that they were using last year?
They got like 200 yards, 142 yards. Nothing really to sneeze at. Now, here's Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow doesn't have – there's not one running back.
Another guy who doesn't have the hardware, though. Again, back to my point. I know these guys are better than Jalen. What are you proving?
Wait a minute.
Wait, what are you proving now? That Joe Burrow is better than Jalen Hurts? What are you, Captain fucking Obvious?
Bro, what I'm counting is good players, Jimmys and Joes. Burrow doesn't have the Jimmys and Joes that Hurts has.
But he doesn't have the hardware. So I'd rather have the players.
So
and the criticism of the quarterback that he needs players around him with the hardware.
Joe Burrow's fault that Duke Tobin sucks.
I know it's not. I never said it was.
Okay, when you say hardware, that comes down to that.
That's my point, is that I'd rather have Jalen Hurts with these players than have these great quarterbacks that still struggle to win without the players.
You keep saying, where's the hardware? Well, if you don't have the organization and the GM to help build these teams with the Jimmys and Joes, you're not going to have hardware.
So wait.
There's more holes on all of these other teams.
So every quarterback needs a stacked roster, except Mahomes.
No, I just showed you. You had 2 teams, Bills and Chiefs.
What?
You keep going back to the same argument that we're talking about. There's not one player, 22 guys between the Bills and Chiefs that could start in Philadelphia. My point is that Hurts has the Jimmys and Joes around him. You don't need to be elite in that position, which means that those quarterbacks have to elevate more because of the lack of talent around them.
I agree with that.
Okay,
I'm not disputing that at all. My only dispute in what you're saying is, as good as those quarterbacks are, like, they don't have the wins. Now, I get it. You're right. The Jimmys and Joes aren't as good. But doesn't that highlight that maybe Jalen needs a stacked roster? But it appears that to win at the level Jalen has won at, Joe Burrow needs it. Josh Allen would need it.
Let me ask you.
All the guys except Mahomes. I mean, look, Mahomes is in a league of his own. When you can win a Super Bowl throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster there, all right, you deserve to be in a different level. But I don't,
How many more Super Bowls do you think Matthew Stafford would win if he had the number 1 O-line, the number 1 running back, and the best duo in football at wide receiver? How many more Super Bowls would he have won, in your opinion? And a number 1 defense in the NFL.
Well, you happen to call out maybe my favorite quarterback in the league, in Matthew Stafford. So I think he's.
You think he wins the 22 Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's tough to play that game, but I think he probably would. I mean, I think but at the same time, I think Jalen was good enough to win that Super Bowl too. I understand he had the fumble, I know, but I mean, that was the best game I've ever seen Jalen Hurts play, in my life.
You think Stafford would have taken that 25 team further?
I don't know. Probably.
If Matthew Stafford was the quarterback in Philly, is A.J. Brown in New England?
Probably not. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Boy, those
if
executives
my aunt
don't
had
think
balls,
those executives do not think highly of your boy. That's for damn sure. Woo!
Well, look, we talked about this at the beginning. He had a down year last year, so the lists are representative of the down year. That's normal to me. I'm not offended. I don't think it's a big deal.
Brock Purdy missed 10 games. I mean, Jaden Daniels missed 8 games. And they had him right ahead of him. How's that possible?
I think the league will, like you just said a little bit ago, The national media is 1 to 2 years behind
that's right.
typically. So I think they're a little behind on that. But let's see. I mean, look, I think Jaden is a good player with good skill set, but I got to see that a little longer, man. I think that dude is is paper mache to the next level. That dude's like a piece of loose leaf. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm with you. Do you think that Devontae is going to be a top 5 wideout?
Top 5, probably not. I mean, that's to be a top 5 wideout. Again, back to it almost is more dependent on the product of your environment than it is. Now, skill obviously matters, but CeeDee Lamb put up 1,800 yards when he was getting the ball every time. You know what I mean? Like, I think you need that type of offense. I think Devontae could be a top 10 in terms of statistical output.
Top 10. Wide receiver 2 will be what?
Low, pretty low, I would think. I don't think wide receiver 2 cracks 1,000 yards this year. Remember, I think he's had 2 or 3 years now where Devontae and AJ both went over 1,000. I think that's done. I don't think you have that guy in the building. I think maybe it's a little bit more spread. I think the number 2 receiver this year will probably be Dallas Goedert.
When you see these lists like from the executives and you're talking about the quarterback, I mean, how do you think the Eagles respond to that when they look at that and really the National Football League executives? And I know how Fowler does it, by the way. I asked the guy if he was surveyed. So what they do, Z, is they ask scouts, general managers, and coordinators. And what they'll do is they'll go, give me your top 10 this, tight ends, defensive tackles, what have you. And you fill out this survey. The NBA does it too. So when you see this, how do you think the Eagles respond when you look around the league and you're looking at the quarterback? The quarterback, again, has a lot of respect for his intangibles, and that was written into his line there. But when it comes to skill set, there's not a lot of high praise for the kid. How do you think they see that? And do you think that's forcing them into where they are now with the schematic changes that they're making?
No, I think they know that.
They know that.
I mean, they drafted him in the 2nd round. You know, whenever they talk about Jalen Hurts, they talk about his intangibles first. I think they know Jalen. And I think this is a credit. I think maybe some Hurts fans might take offense to this, but I think the Eagles are pretty honest about Jalen Hurts. Like, I think they know that he's not going to be the type of elevator that some of the other quarterbacks are. But I think they're all okay with it. You know, look, this is why do you draft Devontae Smith 10 overall and then trade 18 overall the following year for A.J. Brown? Why do you continue to pay and draft offensive line? And I'm good with it. It's their philosophy. But I don't think they've ever been in a mode where they're like, we have to prove that Jalen is better than, I think they're okay with it. And I think that they know that they have to build a great team. But I also think they think a little bit like I think a little bit like when I was trying to explain to you that I think they all need a good team. Except Mahomes, they all need a good team. So if the Eagles build the good team better than the Bills or the Rams or any of these other teams, okay, Jalen has shown them he's going to get the job done for the most part, or at least he's shown it more times than most other quarterbacks have shown it at this point in their career, that he can handle the job. He did it in 22. I think he did it in 22 playoffs. Great. And he obviously did it in 24 when the moment got big. You know, I think there might be some concern about the next size contract because, you know, so as I just said, you have a topic. I mean, look, I'm not in delusion land. I'll say when I think about Jalen in terms of, you know, where he is in the league, he's the 12th highest paid quarterback right now. That's a bargain.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bargain.
It is.
So at that price, I think the Eagles feel good. When it comes to the next deal, that's where I think the water gets a little more muddy.
Okay. Well, you know what a smoke signal is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You throw them at me all the time.
Hey, well, doesn't this make sense then? Don't you want to start sending smoke signals out to the future and future wide receivers and future coordinators that you've got this quarterback slammed down with a contract extension now, that the things you're doing now are going to be things that you're going to be doing next year and the year beyond, that you want to be able to attract as many free agents as possible. You want to be able to attract as many quality offensive linemen, offensive line coaches, depending on what Chris Cooper does. Aren't you trying to show and send signals to people that, hey, this isn't a one-year deal here. We're committed to this guy. The Eagles are not showing commitment to him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I asked John that question this morning. If they were confident, would they have given the deal by now? And he said, without a doubt. I mean, there's zero doubt. So I think to some extent you're right. I think they're comfortable where they are. I think the next deal is where they need to see. So again, back to what I said at the start of the segment, though, it's all there for Jalen. If you're a Jalen Hurts fan or a Jalenite or whatever you call yourself.
Is it really?
Yeah. Sills, when you're an elite player, you don't look around and make excuses for why things aren't what they should be. You go and create what they should be. And that's what makes you elite.
Yeah, but I hear people tell me a year ago, Kevin Patullo boxed Hurts in.
Well, I think that's bullshit.
Okay.
Because if you're an elite player, you overcome that crap.
That's right.
Now, that's not to say that there's not a degree to which that can hurt or help you. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's put up or shut up now time. You know what I mean? So it's like, if Jalen wants to go and be the elite player, go be the elite player. I don't want to hear that it's Makai Lemon. I get it. I'm going to factor that into my evaluation. But, like you say, Josh Allen doesn't make excuses for shitty players around him. So Jalen's got to go and rise up. He's got to be elite this year. And when I say elite, I mean like elite. I don't mean like he needs to be pretty good. Like he needs to be an elite football player. He needs to be one of the reasons that we win games. He needs to take everybody around him and raise the tide. That's what an elite quarterback should do for a team. That's what Jalen has to do this year. I think he can do that.
You think he's an elite leader?
I think in moments. I think in a way he's almost embodied. There's Gary. I think in a way he's embodied a little bit of Nick in that way. Just from a sense of, does it need to be perfect for Jalen? Like you often point out 23 and 25 when the seasons went awry, or 23 and then last year. And you criticize Nick for not having the answers. And I think that's fair criticism. I do. Well, when you talk about an elite quarterback, I think the same should apply to them. That's what elite quarterbacks do. They provide answers when the answers aren't obvious, right? Because you can only get those answers from elite players. So I think Jalen's got to do a little bit more of that in the leadership category and on the field. But overall, I think Jalen's a great leader. Yeah, I do. I think he embodies what you want to see in a player, from a mentality and a work ethic standpoint.
Last question here for you, Z. I think we got one or two supers here, so we'll get to Gary Cobb here in a second. This year, are you more concerned about Sirianni and his involvement in the new offensive play calling? Or are you more concerned about the actual play of Jalen?
I'm not concerned about Sirianni with that.
You think he'll stay out of the way?
Did he stay out of the way in 24 when they won the Super Bowl?
See, again, that year, turn and run, Saquon.
I know, but Nick, wait a second. Nick intervened for that.
Okay.
So, I don't like.
Or did he resort to that because that was the only thing they had to fall back?
Whatever word you want to use there.
So was that coaching, you think?
Partly.
Okay, then what happened at 25 last year when he needed
Wait a second. Don't you think it takes a set of nuts on a head coach to take $60 million of wide receivers and say, nah, we're not going to use you anymore. We're going
and
to
a
go
$50
to
million quarterback?
So I do think Nick has
Yeah.
some credit there.
Okay, so when I think they fell into that. But okay.
Of course you do.
Yeah, because you know why? You just said it. You signed a free agent running back, and all of a sudden the free agent running back at 24 turned out to be the gold star and turned out to be the horse.
Nick
It
adjusted.
wasn't the people you had in the building that were carrying the team.
Did Nick adjust or did he not?
Kellen did.
You didn't answer the question.
Yeah, you
did
damn right.
Nick adjust or did
I
he
don't
not?
believe he answers questions.
Well, you're one tough cookie. I'll tell you that much. You are one tough cookie. All right, man.
Listen, hold on here, man. You got to get the boxes. I know you do. Hold on.
I do. No, I got for the most part, Sills, I got them. I got them almost done.
Really? Dude, those are pain in the asses. Hey, don't throw too many of them away. Okay.
Dude, they're all, what are you, a pack rat? They're all being thrown away.
I know. So what do you make of this one, Z?
You know, it doesn't suck. JAKIB Sports. Love the show. Thanks, guys. Wayne, you're the man, brother. Love you, brother. Here's the walkout. What's up, Bill? Hey, guys. Zander, will you or John be reporting from training camp? Can't wait to follow everything your channel does this season. Bill, thanks. John will be down there live and in person for all of training camp. So we will there. And so I'd like to have John also on your show during camp to get some updates as well. So we'll do a little bit of that during camp. We'll get full updates on the show.
Let me tell you something. John does a spectacular job. Here's one last one here, Z.
JD, what's up, man? JAKIB will be electric every post game this season. Half will want Nick's head on a platter and half will want Hurts gone. Every game will be the end of the world. I'm pumped up, man. God bless you guys. JD, what kind of sick F are you that you want that you're pumped up for that? Come on, JD3. Have some faith, man.
Hey, one last thing before I get you out of here, Z, and we get to Gary Cobb. I got to tell you, I threw out an olive branch to John McMullen because I know how much he likes Mark Trestman. I told Trestman to send him a book, and I'm going to have him send it to you so you can give it to John.
Nice. Why? You have to throw out an olive branch to J-Mac?
Well, I don't know, because, you know, he thinks I'm just a shit-talking fire starter, not really like, you know.
Sills,
you know,
Sills, you don't need to justify shit to anybody.
Oh, I know I don't.
I'm just saying, your resume and who you are and what you know and your connections speak for itself. Let everybody else think what they want to think and be who they want to be. Screw
Look at that there, man. Dan, nobody loves football more than you.
That's dope, man. I'm Sills, and as a matter of fact, you don't have to tell him to send me one. I'm gonna buy that book.
Oh wow! I'll tell book? Mark.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy that book. I really like his segments on your shows. He's smart, man.
Dude, and I love him. He goes back he was a coach with me with the Buccaneers and obviously Hurricanes. He was there at the University of Miami when we won our first national championship. So, Big Z, I'll tell you what, man. I watch that show in the morning and it's kicking ass, man. I'm glad you're back. Get those boxes in the trash cans and we're ready to rock. I will see you. Great news, man, on everything going on in Big Z's life. I appreciate you, brother. Love you,
Thank you, Stills. Appreciate you, brother.
You got it. That is my friend. We are 15 days of training camp. And back in Gary Cobb's day, Gary Cobb would be out running at midnight. Damn, am I in enough shape? Am I going to do the 12-minute run? Get his ass into Dallas with them Jimmy Johnson 16 110s. OG Cobb running those 16 110s in that mile and a half. Gary was always in shape, though. 10-plus years in National Football League. You can check him out on Fox 29, and he joins us now each and every single week. And I love Gary Cobb on our show, and I couldn't wait to get some of the comments being made about Hurts today. Jeremy Fowler came out. How you doing, my friend? And I'm going to start it out here with you.
Mm-hmm.
So NFL executives came out today with their top 20 quarterbacks in the NFL, and Jalen not really coming in real high there. It came in at 17 heading into this season. What's your takeaway on that and how the other executives in the National Football League look at your guy?
Well, I think that, just being fair, I could understand how they, they could say that, even though really with what he has done, his resume, though, I think it refutes that. I mean, look how much he's won. You know, look, he's been to 2 Super Bowls. How many of those guys can say they've been to 2 Super Bowls? How many of those guys can say that they played great in 2 Super Bowls and could have won both of them really if their defense had played better in one of those games? So I think he's got a great argument, and he's a hard worker. He's a guy that's about winning. He's not really just about stats. What is it going to take us to win? Is he the perfect quarterback? No, no. Because sometimes you do get rid of that ball, Jalen. Stop holding on to that ball. But what he's thinking about is, any quarterback could tell you that they know that turning the ball over is going to get them beat. He knows that. Coach knows that. So I think Jalen is a guy that's all about winning, and really, ultimately, that's what the game is about. It's not about stats. Yeah, you got guys got stats, but how many rings do they have? And so you start talking about quarterbacks. How many of them can you put up against him when it comes to winning? The guy is a winner, and he's won. And even in the you look at the year, of course, it's a couple of years ago with Saquon having such a great year and everything. You see, he didn't have a problem where saying, I want to throw the ball. Now I know some quarterbacks would be looking at their numbers and they're going, look, man, we're not throwing the ball or nothing. But Jalen, you wouldn't hear him say anything about that because he's not about numbers. He's about winning. And there have been times when he's helped them win with his legs, But he would come out there saying, look, I help us win with – you never hear them after the game talking like that. Now, there's some quarterbacks that are cocky like that, and they would say that. And you know what? If they're winning, that's fine. They're going to be themselves. But Jalen doesn't do that because that's not him. He's all about finding a way to win. He doesn't need all of the credit. And I think that I know that the guys that play with him, they love playing with him. They know he's a fighter. They know he's going to be ready and everything. And so we're going to see some things this season. We're going to find out, because he's got to make an adjustment. That's why I think, the Eagles defense is going to have to probably carry them initially, but I think that, Jalen's going to have another good year, and I think their team is going to have a good year. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're knocking on the door again for a championship.
I'm going to read you the 5 best general managers, and I'm going to put the quarterbacks on the other side of these general managers. And you tell me if it's more about the Jimmies and Joes or the guy in the building that's the quarterback. Okay. So the number 1 general manager, why don't we just put Howie there, and we'll say Jalen Hurts. The second best general manager is John Schneider. He's got Sam Darnold. Les Snead, obviously he's got Matthew Stafford. That's a great quarterback. John Lynch has got Brock Purdy. And Brian Gutekunst, Green Bay, has Jordan Love. Would you rather have a talented roster with all the great Jimmies and Joes, or would you rather have a mid-level quarterback? I mean, rosters in Super Bowls, don't they?
They definitely, yeah. Oh, yeah, they're a big part of it, having that roster and everything. But you got to have people, though, that make plays in big games. Because, we've seen, they're the quarterbacks that have played well, but, they haven't played well in the big games. And the guys have had stats, but they haven't come through in big games. And so, in stepping back and looking at that, Jalen, he's stepped up when they needed him to step up for the most part. Now, he hasn't always played his best ball in the big games, but he's done it well enough to where they've had some success. So when you start talking about those quarterbacks, I have to go through them again, but I'll tell you this, that all of them haven't played well in the big games.
Here's what they did, Gary. Here's how they ranked them. The NFL coaches and executives, Jeremy Fowler did a survey like the NBA does.
Okay.
And by the way, for the record, ESPN has the Eagles, along with those executives, as the second best starting lineup to the Rams. Here's how they rank the quarterbacks.
Okay.
Allen 1, Patrick Mahomes 2, Stafford 3, Burrow 4, Lamar 5, Dak 6, Herbert 7, May 8, Goff 9, Caleb Williams 10, Sam Darnold 11, Jaden Daniels Commanders 12, Jordan Love 13, Brock Purdy 15, Baker Mayfield 16, Trevor Lawrence 17, Jalen Hurts 18, and to finish out the top 20, Bo Nix at 18, Daniel Jones at 19, and CJ Stroud at 20. So they got Hurts at 17. What do you make of that?
Well, you know, I
That's
think
the perception of executives on him around the league.
I think it's an insult. I mean, I think it's an insult because, you know, to say that the quarterback is such an important part of winning, and when you put his record against those guys, many of which haven't done anything in the league when it comes to winning. Now, they may have had some stats, and they may be, you know, good, dropping in the pocket and everything, but they haven't outplayed, you know, Jalen Hurts. I don't think you could say, you know, all those guys have outplayed him. No, I couldn't say that because.
But Gary, you wouldn't say that Hurts is a better talent than Burrow.
No, but okay. Now, I will tell you this though. You got to bring his legs into it too.
Okay.
You know, can those other guys? I
No.
mean, can they beat you with their legs? He can beat you with your legs. Now, you know that's part of Lamar's game.
He
gets credit for it, but obviously they didn't give Jalen credit for his legs. They didn't. They obviously didn't give him credit because you have to say that's a factor. And I'll tell you what, if you're on the defensive side, you know it's a factor because you're going like, hey, you know, this one guy, if he doesn't do the damage out of the pocket, he is not going to beat you. He's not going to beat you with his leg. But then you got Jalen, which he has clearly been a factor. And really, I'm not taking anything away from Saquon. The year Saquon had a couple years ago, part of that was because of Jalen's legs. He was a threat. And so it occupies at least one guy, maybe sometimes two. You got guys occupied because when he has that fake, if he hangs on to it, boom, you know, they don't want him, you know, taken off, you know, on a bootleg or sometimes, you know, where he's running an option, you know. So I think that factor comes into it. Now, can I understand how you can get frustrated?
Yeah. But Gary, if he doesn't use those wheels like he didn't a year ago, maybe that's where they're looking at it because last year he ran for the least amount of yards.
Yeah.
Usually he hangs around like 600 to 700 yards. Mm-hmm. He's really high in that number, right? The last year he hung around 390 yards and didn't run as much. You do agree if he's not running more, and I agree with you, when he's dual threat, he's a weapon. When he runs less, though, he's not one of those guys from the pocket. Like you said, he's got to have all the tools in the toolbox to go into a game, no?
I think so, yeah. You know, he didn't run as much last year, but he still have the threat even out of the pocket when it's not an option. You know, they have had the offense for the most part where they've been utilizing options where there are times when he's reading the guy at the end of the line and deciding whether he's going to hand it off to the running back or keep it. So I think that's a factor. But, you know, and then also I would say, like I said, about taking care of the football. You know, that is something that they emphasize. And the game is about winning. It's not about stats. And because I know quarterbacks and I've heard them talking where you got guys, they think it's a big deal to get their stats, even if sometimes it's garbage stats. Where a team gets ahead and you start, backing off of the guys.
Playing from behind.
That's right. And you go in the huddle, tell, hey, you guys, back up over there. You do not get beat deep. And you're letting them catch it. They're getting stats.
Prevent.
It's garbage stats. The game's over, and they're getting garbage stats. And that's some of the case with some of those guys. They've been getting garbage stats, and they really shouldn't even count them. I wonder if there's a way in which they would say, look, if once we say you're in garbage time, we're not giving you credit or full credit for those stats, because it really tells it doesn't tell the true story of the success a guy's had. Because if you're running up stats in a game that's over, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve credit for it unless you got a chance to win.
Gary, how concerned are you? We're 15 days out from camp.
Yep.
And there's been no movement whatsoever on Jalen Carter's deal. Zero. I mean,
yeah.
Are you concerned at all with this? Do you think they've got an understanding and an agreement where, all right, we're going to play through this. We're going to go into the 26th season. And because I'll tell you what, if the guy does have a all-pro season, you're going to be talking in excess of $40 million with a lot of decisions to be made.
That's
Cooper
right.
DeJean, Q is going to be up. If Hurts plays great, if Hurts plays great, you're talking 60 plus. I mean, if Devontae, if he comes in and has a 1,500-yard year, so you got a lot of things on the table. Would it be a mistake not to address this contract heading into camp now?
I think they're talking. I know. I know. And Howie's going to talk to his guy. I mean, they're not going to get to the point where they're not talking. The whole thing is right now is, and I would be concerned too, because when I look at Jalen, Carter, I'm not crazy about his maturity. Like, look, we can't have nonsense. We got to have you focus on football and focus on being the very best you can be, because that's the guy we need. That's the guy we're paying. We're not paying a guy that's just out there to have a good time. This is not about just having a good time. Now, of course, the argument he has is, during that Ram game, when that game was on the line, without him, they don't have the rings. And I think I know his guys probably going in there going, look, what? One of the reasons you guys got the ring, put on that Ram game, So I would go ahead and pay him. I think that he's got his buddies with him too. I'm going to ask them to keep an eye on him too. But I want to see that hunger though to be great. I think he's got a chance to be a Hall of Fame, defensive tackle. I want to see the hunger to be that. I want to see that type of hunger, and I want to see him where they need him to take over. Now, you guys mentioned the Rams and everything. I would, if I was the coach over there, I'm gonna start talking about the Rams. Everybody giving the Rams the championship, because when I look at the Eagles' defense, and I see, a Carter, I see those DBs and everything, they got to say, look, man. We think we're just as good as they are. We think we're just as good as they are. And if you got Carter playing the way he's capable of playing, you got a chance for that. Now, of course, they're going to need some of the guys that they bring in here, to do it. But like Carter, and then, of course, what am I talking about? Jonathan Greenard, they need him to play the way he's capable of playing. But that defense has got to carry them early anyway, because, they're in a new offense. They got, and I wouldn't be surprised if the offense starts out slower than they should be at the end of the season. But the defense should lead the way this year, because, they got a lot of personnel. But Carter, we need him to play great all year. Don't need him to be, going through the motions, taking games off, playing when he wants to. And so this is a big year for him. So I could understand where they would want to try to put him in a position where if he plays the way they want him to play, then he gets his money, you know. So, but I think they're going to have to give him money. I don't think there's any way where they're going to have to pay him, I think.
You know what, Gary? You know this better than everyone because you've played the position. If those guys in front of Campbell and Bond are not playing better run defense, I don't care how talented you are.
Yeah.
Last year, they were 22nd against the run. And as I mentioned to you last week, in their 6 months, they gave up 170 yards rushing and 5 yards a clip.
Yeah.
All 6 regular season losses. You think that was an effect of Carter's shoulders, his injury, not being able to work out? You know, the double team started going over more towards Jordan Davis. I mean, at the end of the day, you could tell me all you want about how good Zach Bond played. You still were a very good run-stopping defensive football team.
True.
And that was across the board. Now, you didn't run into a boatload of them, but every loss, as you know, that's trend. That's not a coincidence. When 6 of the losses, you had 170 yards rushed on you.
Yeah.
My question is, how important is Carter's play going to be on Campbell as he gets his feet wet, taking for Nakobe Dean? Because I think Dean was a better run stopper.
He was, you know, and it's understandable because, you know, he's playing at the NFL level, and he had pretty much played outside, you know, before they moved him around. So, and he needs to get in the weight room too, you know, Campbell. He needs to get stronger. You know, he's big and everything, but I mean, tall, but he needs to fill out more, you know, because you're in there, you know, you got those. I mean, come on, the guards and the tackles. I mean, you got big people in there. And so, you know, I think that he's been in the weight room getting stronger. And I think that Carter does need to play better. There's no doubt about that. But I think he probably wasn't himself. You know, he wasn't full strength last year, you know, because I could see the way he's over there lifting, you know, working on his shoulders and everything, and not just from a standpoint of them being hurt. I think that you know, he was injured, but also strength-wise, I think he needs to get in that weight room more, you know.
Couple last ones here for you, Gary. Do you believe that Jalen Hunt will be the breakout eagle on that defensive side of the ball and push himself ahead of Nolan? You know, not that Nolan's a bad player. He's not.
Yeah.
He's just not available. And building a game plan around availability, as you know, is important. Is the guy there on Sundays? And I think Nolan's still a good player. They picked the 5th-year option up on him, but is this Hunt's time to really grab that position and really be the guy of the future on the other side of Grenard?
You know, I could see them do more things with Hunt. You know, I mean, you know, what he accomplished last year where he led them in sacks and interceptions says something about the fact that, you know, and he played safety and played, you know, and playing linebacker and things during college. So he does have that ability where he has a feel for, you know, dropping back into coverage and everything. So I think they, you know, I would like to see them do some unique things with him, you know, put him in a position where at times he's going to rush, times he's going to drop into coverage. You know, he's shown you that he's got an ability in that area. So I would like to see them do that. And I think that with Nolan, you know, they're going to be, well, you know, last year they were swapping in and out. I think you're going to see the same thing. They're going to be rotating, and how much we'll see. But I think that they're going to be rotating those guys because I think with Jalen Hunt, how could you not at least put the kid on the field with the way that he produced for you last year? So I think that all of them going to get they're going to get a chance to play, you know. So, and then from what, you know, that's been the kind of talk, they're going to put in some new things too. You know, that's what it sounds like, that they're going to be doing some new things. So we'll see what he's got up his sleeve, you know.
All right, Gary, last one here for you. I played this game with Zander, and I'm going to do it with you here. And so here's a coach, 4 years. he went to 3 NFC championship games. He won one of them, and he won a Super Bowl, and he was 45-26 and 5-2 in the postseason. And that guy's Barry Switzer. That's a heck of a record to get fired. So I'll ask you something about Nick Sirianni. Yeah, he's 45-26.
Yeah.
5-2 in the playoffs, and he's got an NFC championship, and Switzer was fired. So you think Nick Sirianni is a problem-solving coach?
It depends on what you mean by that. I mean, the guy's he got great relationships with his players. He's not so much a X's and O's solution. So I don't think he's going to be meddling with the offense. I think he's going to be telling them when to run the ball and different things like that. But I don't see him, meddling a great deal. But he is very close with the players. That's what he does, is really making sure his guys are ready to go. And I think the strength of his game is his relationship with his players.
Well, we are 15 days out, my friend.
Yep.
I mean, we are ready to write. Hey,
Yep.
Hey, Gary, like you and I say, though, not like they're
Yep.
going to camp. This is like going to summer camp.
That's right.
You're not really going to training camp here. You're going to go there, and you guys, they're going to be playing like pin the tail on the donkey and stuff like that, because this ain't kind of like the camps that you and I went to.
But I'll tell you, they're going to go in. They got to start getting serious, and I'm sure that they are, because the Cowboys are going to be improved. That's not going to be the same Cowboy team that they've been playing. They know they got their work cut out for them. The Giants will be better. We'll see how much, but the Giants will be better, and so will Washington. But
Jaden Daniels will be healthy, at least at the beginning of the year. So that's the first game of the year, and that's probably the best Commanders team they're going to play all year, because they're going to be their healthiest.
That's right. Well, and they know that, look, it's not a fun time around here if they're losing. So they know that they got to play well. And so, and they're not even thinking about losing. I think that, I think they probably look forward to the challenge, and everybody's going to give the Rams the title right now. They want to go ahead and give them the trophy. They said, nah, we got to play out the season. We got to play out the season.
It don't work like that, does it, JAKIB? Hey.
Well, it's not supposed to.
Well, it don't work like that. JAKIB, I'll catch you soon. Thank you so much, my friend.
Hey, have a good one.
You got it. That is Gary Cobb there. Yeah, absolutely here. Let's go back. I saw some of the comments that were being made here. Let's see. They're like delusion. Let's see. Are talking about Eagle fans, I'm sure. Hunt was the weak spot on the run defense. That's why they went out and made a move for Jalen Phillips, correct? The edges were getting killed. Okay, they were. I feel bad now. Killer doesn't even know what position on the team play outside of Jalen Hurts. He probably thinks Jalen Carter's the safety. Ooh. Let's see here. Killer's getting killed here. Philadelphia, I want to mentally prepare yourself, because around week 4 or 5 and your offense isn't producing, I'll be unbearable. Yeah. Oh, man. Without a 2K running back, those 4K passing yards would sure help. Correct. Let's see here. Put Jalen Carter through a Gary Cobb Big Sills NFL practice. Put anybody, man. Actually, Hurts never a problem for himself. He only wants is just win the game and winning the championship and winning the playoffs. So people that are in the live chat are totally really wrong. Okay, yeah. Dude, you're right. We gave you on what NFL executives looked at Jalen Hurts and how they see him as a player. And by the way, I saw somebody in here going like this. It was probably Philadelphia. Was that you, dude, that said about winning the regular season MVP? Yeah. What do you think is harder to do? Play 60 minutes of football or 6 months of football consistently? Of course the regular season MVP is harder to win. You got to play consistent every single game for 6 months. You can't take weeks off. She goes, who you got winning the semifinals this week in the World Cup matchups? I got Argentina and France going on and playing in the World Cup. Appreciate the super. Let's see here. Let's see here. Philadelphia, you know why I ask week 4 or 5. Most teams take a little time to get together. Because it's the first month of the season. Hey, by the way, like I said, you win a regular season MVP, you got to play 6 months of football. 6 months versus 60 minutes. Hurts didn't have to play good for 6 months in 24. He played risk averse, 2,900 yards and 18 touchdown passes. Allen had to play. And by the way, you guys are wrong on how the NFL executives look at Josh Allen. They look at him as the best player in the game at that position. Whatever you say, whatever. MVP Allen was a feel sorry award because he hasn't done anything in the playoffs and people got tired of giving it to Lamar. Bro, sure, that's how you see it. Whatever. Nobody respects that take. They got Allen as the best player in the game at that position. And the NFL does not look at your quarterback as a top 15 guy. And whatever you want to say, dude. And every time you hear people go, well, look at the resume. Well, you know what? Like I said, you think there's any think about something I'm going to say to you here. Do you think there's any coincidence that the 2 best general managers in football? Here, let me rank the best GMs in football, and let's see what kind of quarterbacks these guys have. And where they are on the list. NFL general managers. NFL, and nobody does this. NFL GMs list 2026. So let's take a look at this. Here's the general managers. Okay. So let me get a clean piece of paper out. 2 best GMs. Howie Roseman and John Schneider, the Seahawks. Roseman has Hurts. Schneider has Darnold. Let's take a look at where those guys were ranked by executives. Let's see here. 17th. What was Darnold ranked? 11th. And Hurts was ranked 17th. Those are your last 2 Super Bowl winners. Let's take a look at the list here of the best GMs in football. Who's third? Les Snead. Les Snead, I agree. Rams. That's Stafford. That's number 3. Is it number 3? Let me see. Let's take a look here. Number 3. Yes. Who's the 4th best general manager in football? Let's take a look. 4th best. Let's go to Brad Holmes. Detroit. He's got Goff. Where's Jared Goff ranked on this list? Jared Goff is ranked number 9. Okay, number 5. Let's see. So the best so far, top 4, Roseman, Stafford, Les Snead, and Brad Holmes. So let's take a look at the Brian Gutekunst. Packers. Where is Love ranked? Let's take a look here. Jordan Love is 13th. So, the top 5 GMs: Roseman, John Schneider, Les Snead, Brad Holmes, and Brian Gutekunst. You have Eagles, you have Seahawks, you have Rams, you have Lions, and you have Packers. So you have the 17th ranked quarterback with Hurts, and you have the 11th ranked quarterback with Darnold. You have the number 3 quarterback with Les Snead. In Detroit, you have the number 9, and in Green Bay, you have the 13th. Outside of the Rams, nobody has top 5 quarterback. And as a matter of fact, there's only 2 guys in the top 10 quarterbacks that are in the top 5 in general managers. The general managers build rosters more so than they have elite quarterbacks. Love's a good player. Golf is on his second team, and he's a good player. It's about the rosters, especially with the top 2 guys. John Schneider and Howie Roseman would rather have a better team than an elite quarterback. They don't have an elite quarterback. And they're the last 2 winners of the Super Bowl. Dude, anything you guys are saying about Josh Allen, it just doesn't matter. Not today. Dudes act like MVPs in a regular season is getting Josh Allen or Lamar past the championship game. Those dudes can't even sniff a Super Bowl. I just told you, those general managers are nowhere in the conversation. Like here's Brandon Beane. Brandon Beane is currently ranked the 17th best general manager. Duke Tobin is ranked 19th. Let's see here. Who else is an elite guy? Eric DaCosta is ranked 14th. I mean, these guys don't have very good general managers. You think that's not part of it? I mean, yeah, GMs are to blame for when teams can't make it to this. Look at this. Yeah, GMs aren't to blame when teams can't make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They're the people that put the roster together. Yeah, they are. You don't believe that a general manager is the number 1 person on putting the Jimmies and Joes on a roster and that you can win with a practice squad? Is that what you're saying? Senor, really? So you expect Josh Allen to take a practice roster squad to a Super Bowl and win it, or even Hurts? You don't think general managers build Super Bowl teams? Really? That's the first I've ever heard anybody make that assertion. GMs are to blame when teams can't make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah, they are. So wait a second. Niners practice squad beat the loaded Eagles team because they had better coaching. I told you your coach is not qualified. Yeah. Dude, are you really, you don't think general managers build Super Bowl rosters? Man, what a horrible take. You have no idea what you're talking about. Hey, by the way, you're all wrong. Seals, when is regular season MVP a bad thing? Imagine being the best player in football for 17 weeks and getting crushed by Senior because Jalen can't. These takes are fucking ridiculous. I can't read them without laughing. Okay. John Lynch is to blame for not addressing the O-line that cost us 2 Super Bowls. Amen. I like Chris Ballard, Yale. I like him. I think he does a pretty decent job in Indianapolis. I like him. Says you let Z off easy today when he said that Jalen could be elite this year. Well, I think Zander was more so if he's running. If Hurts runs, he is elite. If he doesn't, he's below average. Dude, they're coaching him wrong. Again, Curtis, I don't think you have a bad roster. I think you have a bad approach. Hey, and by the way, don't get mad because the league doesn't look highly at your guy, but looks highly at your team. That's where the disconnect is today and why you're upset. The National Football League looks highly, okay? They look highly at your roster. They just don't look highly at your quarterback. Sills, I agree with you. I agree with you, Sills, that Hurts sucks at throwing the ball. I just don't get all the praise on these great quarterbacks who can't even make it to the Super Bowl. They're eventually replace Joshua Lamar. You're never going to replace Joshua Lamar because those general managers are just not good enough. Who are you going to replace him with? Doug Flutie? Prior to Josh Allen showing up in Buffalo, I showed you what the record was. It was terrible. Or how about Cincinnati? I mean, again, dude. Sales, how the fuck aren't general managers responsible for building Super Bowl rosters when the main components of every dynasty has been owner, management, head coach, and quarterback? And overall roster, depth, right? The fuck we talking about? That's exactly correct. You want to win a Super Bowl? Owner, management, head coach, quarterback, overall roster. I think the Eagles, I'll tell you what, my friend, right here, let me rank these. Owner, elite. Management, elite. Head coach, average. Quarterback, average. Overall roster, elite. You couldn't go down the list. Here, the Rams. Elite owner, Stan Kroenke, has won everything. He's the best owner in sports. Nobody's better than Stan Kroenke. He's won a Premier League. He's won an NBA title. He's won an NHL title. And he's won a Super Bowl. Nobody is better than Stan Kroenke. Management, Les Snead and Kevin Demoff have done a marvelous job at retooling the roster, making a trade for Stafford. Exceptional. Sean McVay, tremendous coach. Quarterback, elite. Overall roster, it's gotten better since the Super Bowl that they won. They retooled. Burrow wanted Chase and Higgins. Big mistake. Yes, because you know what I would have done? Kim, they needed to get Penei Sewell in there. I would have taken Penei Sewell over Jamar Chase. because he needs that more than what he needs with Chase. If Burrow is as elite as we all think, I think that's a luxury, and they should have went with Penei Sewell. I'm just so mad and angry. The stupid people in the live chat about Jalen Hurts that he just focus on just winning the game. Congratulations for being an NFL quarterback, focusing on winning a game. That's not an intangible. That's a reality in today's NFL. So the Eagles will give full control to Vic Fangio, but put the training wheels on the first-year OC because Sirianni won't give up full control to prove an OC. How about this one, too? Can I tell you why this Sean Mannion hire, he's not qualified? What would be the number one reason that Sean Mannion is not qualified in what the Eagles have done? And get this. So Philly gets Sean Mannion. Then they turn around and they hire Josh Grizzard as what? A failsafe? Just in case he sucks, you can go to that guy because he called plays last year in Tampa? That'd be like hiring a defensive coordinator under Vic. Vic doesn't have any training wheels. I mean, how does that make sense? Hey, we're going to give Mannion the OC title, but let's hire a coordinator that was an offensive coordinator as a pass game guy just to be sure. That's how that worked? Seals, I'm not as high on McVay as I used to be. His situational decision-making leaves me scratching my head too often as of recently. I'm not going to dispute that. The Eagle game a year ago, the playoff game against the Bears left you thinking, wow. Like, in theory, he should have lost that game. Okay? Here, I'll give you a story, Kyle. So the first year when Jimmy Johnson got the head coaching job with the Dallas Cowboys, he hired David Shula. You know why? He hired David Shula because Don Shula recommended him. And Jimmy knew it was a mistake day one. Went 1-15. He was a horrible play caller. He turned out to be a horrible head coach. Great guy. At the end of the day, he's just not a very good coach. Period. Coordinator or head coach. David Shula was terrible. So Jimmy fires his ass. He brings in North Turner. And North Turner completely just puts an offensive game plan together and runs the passing game through Michael Irvin and bases the entire run game through Emmitt Smith and the offensive line. And they were off and running. They put Troy Aikman in a box. They never looked. Actually, as a matter of fact, Troy Aikman has been put in the kind of box that Jalen Hurts has been put in. Never over 22 attempts. You're never going to see a lot of big-time passing attempts. And you're going to see 28 carries a game. When you have a workhorse like Emmitt Smith, you're going to go 28 carries a game. Then on the other side, Jimmy's building up that defense, which he did. When they won their first Super Bowl, they were the youngest team in pro football. The youngest team when they won that first Super Bowl. It's a testament to team building. If we make it to the NFC Championship game year one with Mannion, he would be hired away. Like, we're the only team that keeps losing OCs. No one wants Eric Bieniemy. Yeah, because Eric Bieniemy is not the offensive coordinator in Kansas City. He's a clipboard holder. I mean, if anybody thinks that anyone else calls plays in Los Angeles, you're crazy. Or in like Sean Mannion. Sean Mannion's not calling plays in Green Bay. Matt LaFleur is. Those guys just hang around the building. Now, that worked for you before with Andy Reid. But remember something. Who did Andy Reid work for? Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember who Andy Reid worked for? Holmgren. And who did Mike Holmgren work for? Holmgren. Okay. And who did Mike Holmgren work for? Anybody? There you go. He worked for Bill Walsh. That's right. He worked under Walsh. So the progression went Holmgren, Mike Shanahan in San Francisco. Then Holmgren got the job in Green Bay. Andy Reid became the quarterback coach. Andy Reid never called plays, but he hung around on how to build a coaching staff, and he saw how Holmgren built the offensive game plan. Mike Holmgren was the play caller. Andy Reid was the student. He was the apprentice. And he sat there and put offensive game plans together. And that's how he got the job in Philadelphia. And they got right on that. And that is exactly what Jeffrey Lurie's thinking here. Well, Mannion being around LaFleur, Matt LaFleur is no Mike Holmgren. I think he's a good coach. But to sit there and think that Mike Holmgren and Matt LaFleur are the same guy is fucking nuts. I mean, Mike Holmgren was a great play caller. Who did he take to the Super Bowl in Seattle? Who was that stiff quarterback that he took to the Super Bowl when he went to the Seahawks? I can't remember the guy's name. And he took that dude to the Super Bowl. Literally, if you look back the last 10 years, who had a top 5 team rosters, you will find that the Ravens and Bills were in the most 5 rosters in the NFL did not. Get this, that is such a fucking lie. Here, let's take a look at the Bills the last 5 years and who their guys were that led their teams. So, Bills, year to year, dude. And by the way, Philadelphia, don't be upset. The league doesn't think highly of your quarterback, and they think highly of your team. So here, Cook had a great year. So in 2024, Shakir was the top receiver on the football team. And Shakir had how many in the year 24, before this last year, he had 1,000 yards on the nuts. Shakir had 820 reception yards. So let's go back to another one. And let's go back to Cook in 23. Cook in 23 led the Bills in rushing, 1,100 yards. Diggs had 1,000 yards. Singletary led the Bills in rushing in 22 with 800 yards. Diggs in 22 had a great year, 1,400 yards. That's a good year. So one good year. Let's take a look at Singletary in 20, COVID year. Had 600 yards, led the team in rushing. Diggs in 20 had 1,100 yards. And this is the years that Allen has been. In 2019, their first year they started winning, Allen led the team in passing. Singletary had 700 yards. And some dude named Jones, Zay Jones, had 600 yards. 2 years in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. They had good talent in Buffalo, skill set wise. It's a bullshit comment, dude. We're not worried. Hurts will use his quarterback ranking as more motivation. Luck to you, man. 2:15, Sills wakes up from night terrors talking about Hurts. What? Zay Jones just got paid? Never heard of him. Sills, what made the 49er teams in the so great 81, 84, 88, 89? Was it the defense? It was their tremendous depth. It was Montana. It was the coaching. Their depth was insane. Mr. DeBartolo was a phenomenal owner. Their general manager was great, and I'm not talking Carmen Policy. They were hitting on guys like Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice ran it. Get this. Think of this, David. Excuse me. Jerry Rice ran a 4.8 at the combines. And they still took him. Ran a 4.8. They were looking at some kid out of Pitt by the name of Rooster Jones, who was a wide receiver at Pitt. And at the combines, Bill Walsh went, there's something about that guy at a Mississippi Valley. And he didn't really have a great rookie year. He didn't have a great rookie year. Oh, think about this. Bill Walsh saved Steve Young's life. Seals, do you know who worked under Bob Wolf in Green Bay? It was John Schneider, the GM in Seattle. I think it's Ron Wolf, Kyle, that you're talking about. And by the way, Kyle, Elliot Wolf, that's his kid. The guy up in New England. Elliot Wolf is Bob Wolf's son. Or Ron Wolf's son. And I didn't realize that John Schneider was working up in Green Bay at that time, up there with all those guys. Yeah, well, I agree. It's nepotism, but if it works out, Dan Patrick had an interview with Mike McDonald about the individual who gave him advice before the Super Bowl. Apparently wasn't Brady or BB, with someone with conflict of interest. Any idea who it might be? I think it's Brady. Who would have a conflict of interest? Brady's a broadcaster for Fox and an executive with the Raiders. A lot. He works with Vrabel. It's the same dynamic that Mike what's his name? He's down in North Carolina. Mike Lombardi had with Scott Pioli and not Eric DeCosta, but Nick Caserio. No, Eric DeCosta. They all had that up in New England, but they had to work with Bill. Elliott works with He works with Mike Vrabel. She goes, I was watching Steve Young highlights, and this one pass he threw to Rice against the Vikings looked like it was AI. I had to rewind it 5 times. How about when he takes off in that Viking playoff game, too? And he's running down the sidelines. Hey, dude, I played high school football against him. We were up on them 28 to like nothing. And he came back and they beat us 29-28. And I couldn't believe how fast he was. I mean, Steve Young ran like 4.5s. That guy was an open field threat every time he took off. I couldn't believe how good he was. I played against him in high school and in the pros. And he was just an electric runner. And then Bill Walsh developed him into being a phenomenal passer. Do you think former players should want their records broken, or should they be rooting against the next crop of players to not beat their records? Just wondering what you think. NFL, it doesn't matter. Baseball, it matters more. It's a different game today. It's just a different game. Athletes train different. Like, I have a couple records at Miami that will never be broken. And one of them, my wife says it all the time. They don't train like that anymore. My bench press record will never be broken at Miami. I don't think my 100 tackle season will ever be broken at Miami. I had 94 tackles my junior year at Miami, counting the bowl game, at 94 tackles. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis didn't have 94 tackles combined in their years at college. I had more tackles in one season than they had in their entire careers. But it's a different game. There's more rotating. Players rotate more. You know, they come in and out of games because you got to appease kids to want to stay at Georgia or Miami or at Alabama. If you play just one guy and you don't rotate even all the way down to your third team, you're not keeping those guys on your college roster. I would have transferred. I would have said, that's what I did. I went from Maryland. They weren't going to play me. I said, fuck you. So I'm transferring. Just more kids today you got to appease. And rotating is part of the game today in college football. Tell Miami Dolphins that they don't want their undefeated record to be broken. How many of them guys still popping champagne? Yeah, I think that stuff's stupid. I do. Who cares about going undefeated? Now look, going undefeated and winning a Super Bowl would be iconic. It definitely would be. Yeah, dude, if I'm a backup and I'm just as good as the starter, I'm sitting there going like this. Yeah, well, I'm out of here. I'm not sticking around. I have no loyalty to the school. I have loyalty to my bank account. I always thought Andrew Luck was similar to Steve Young. Yeah, nah, I don't think he ran like that. Young was better. Young was a better runner. Young was, I think, a little more accurate. And Young was on better teams, Paul. So that's unfair too. You know, he was on better football teams. I held the strikeout record when I grew up. 20 years later, kid across the street from me broke the record, and I thought it was awesome. I didn't know I still held it till I knew the kid. Cool for you, man. I mean, yeah, I got a bunch of people. Like, I'll get guys from the Miami team that will go, holy shit, you had 97 tackles one year? I was like, yeah. I had more tackles than Jerome, Sapp, Maryland, Cortez. Dude, one year I had like 55 solo tackles, led the team in tackles for losses, fumbles, everything. And, I tell them, you're never going to do that because you got to rotate so much. I refuse to come out. I didn't really like to come out of games. I don't know how I would play. I don't know how I would play today because I would have to really, be cool with rotating. And I wasn't really cool with it. We had Cortez Kennedy and Russell Maryland. I love those guys. And they just weren't ready yet at the time. Me and Jerome worked with those guys. We did a lot of work with them. Those guys used to come up to us and go, after practice, Jerome and I would be walking off the field. It's true. Jerome and I would be walking off the field, and Russell Maryland would grab me and go, hey, listen, can you show me how to play under my pads? I said, sure. And I never went out of my way to help a kid, but if the kid asked me, I went out of my way. And so I said, okay. And then Jerome would join in. You got to keep your hand here, man. Remember, you just got to put you got to make sure, pigeon it. Have your feet like a duck so that you can go laterally this way or that way. So we just did some nuanced things to help them. Cheat on that 3 technique. You don't have to, if the guy sucks, cheat on it. If the guy's great, don't. Slide more out wide so you can get on edges. Remember, the game's played in edges. And football's played on angles. Never be head up. When you're head up, you're getting killed. I don't give a shit how strong you are. You're going to get killed. And football is a game of angles. You make tackles on angles. You line up on angles. You hit people with angles. Pass routes are angles. Everything that you see in the game is on angles. Nothing's head up. You're head up, you get beat. Game of inches. Yeah. That's why, James, this is why this matters. Let me show you this on field position on what the Eagles did to their defense last year and why it got worn out towards the end. If you do this, 3 and out, 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 and you never get past the 40-yard line, what happens? You're losing field position. The opposing team gains 10 yards. This is a Bradyism. So they get the ball, they punt it from their 40. You have a 3 and out. They get the ball in their 35. They go another 10. They're on the 45. They go 3 and out. They kick the ball. You go 3 and out again. He led the NFL in 3 and outs. They get 10 more yards. They're at the 55-yard line, which means they're on the plus 40. They're on your 45. If that's Aubrey with Dallas, you're in field position now for points on 3 plays that went nowhere. All you had to do was get 10 yards. So that's games of inches. Think about that's why that guy Aubrey in Dallas, that's a game-changing player. Dude, you can get 15 yards of offense, not be real productive. Put yourself on the plus 45 and kick a field goal and get 3 points out of it. Especially when the differential in today's NFL is 3 points. So I'm going to say it again. The organization did Jalen a disservice, stripping Nick of play calling. Shane didn't do anything to improve Jalen as a quarterback. We should have went through the limps earlier. Yes, that's a great take. Hurts should be further along. Yeah. And then you can afford to lose AJ. Yes. I agree, Twiz. I agree with that take. Seals, when Jalen is throwing more, offense is top 10, including the passing game. So why are you blaming Jalen? Sills, when Jalen is throwing more, the offense is top 10. Bro, they've never had a top 10 passing game but 1 year in 5 years. What are you talking about? Including the passing game? In 21, they were 28th. In 22, they were 8th when he ran. In 23, they were 18th. In 24, they were 29th. Last year, they were 23rd. Where are you getting top 10? Where are you getting top 10 from? Who told you that? Or did you just make that shit up? Seals, did you dread the month of August as a player? Still have nightmares from two-a-day practices, especially in Florida, dude. Whew. Dude, the heat and the humidity was insufferable. It was just incredible. Yeah, let me double check that. Here. This guy coming up with some bullshit. Top 10 passing. Let's see. Eagles passing rank in 21. 22nd in 21. 22nd. 22. Ninth. And 23. Sixteenth. And 24. No, that was 29th. And at 25, 23rd. So 22, 9, 16, 29, and 23. Top 10? Dude, you're a little drunk, bro. I mean, you're actually averaging about 24th in passing his entire 5 years throwing the ball. Let's see here. Oh, and by the way, like I said, the exercise today is that the NFL and their executives see you guys as a very talented roster. They just don't think you're very good at quarterback. And he's got great intangibles. Let me pay some bills. Our good friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason. That is because they win. With over $20 billion recovered, folks, there's nothing like it. Make sure you do me a favor. Go and check out that family. Like I told you, they were initially offered $650,000. They got nearly $30 million in settlement. Or the family in Florida that got $350K, they got nearly $12 million in settlement. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound love 529. Do me a favor. You tell them Big Sales sent you.
There's a reason the flappy, flaily, inflatable tube man dominated the dance-off.
Throw the money in the air. Throw the money in the air. Make it rain, count it up, put it there.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Philadelphia just doesn't get it. Dudes keep going back to our passing rankings. So do your Eagles. Dude, why are you ignoring once again what they're doing? You're fucking totally ignoring what they're doing. That's what doesn't make sense. Every single time this guy brings this shit up, they keep going back to our passing attack. That's what you're doing now. Because if you were going to just remake, you'd run it back. And you would do what you did the last 5 years. You're not now. You're totally missing and ignoring what they're doing. And you lose A.J. Brown. Sills, if you had to do it all over and pursue a pro sports today, I might have done baseball. I got an opportunity to do baseball. Okay? I would have maybe done baseball. I had a chance to do that. This is always when you know you got this guy. Hey, and by the way, must be really hard for a guy like this when every NFL executive says that the Eagles have a good roster and the quarterback's below average. Must be tough for you, guy. I'm not even going to read that because it doesn't matter. How about this? You're ignoring the obvious, telling us to look the other way. Hey, guy, nobody looks at your quarterback in high regard. Nobody looks at your quarterback in high regard. They look at your roster. Nobody looks at your quarterback in a high regard. Are you mad at that? I don't know. Get this. It's not just a weekly news list. These are executives and GMs in the league. Oh, okay. Your word matters more. I know. Bro. Oh, man. Our own GM doesn't look at the quarterback in high regard, or they would have given him a new contract. Amen. 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 Dude, there's no coincidence. The two best GMs in football are John Schneider and Howie Roseman. And they've got the lesser of the quarterbacks. One ranked 17th and one ranked 11th. There's a reason for that. They believe in building rosters. And when the rosters aren't really great, the quarterbacks will struggle. Philadelphia, your defense and Barkley carried Hurts to the Super Bowl, whether you like it or not. Dude, again, DFW, end of the day, that will be exposed this year. And I agree with Zander. I think that the defense, they got to get out fast. And they got to play great. And that first month of the season, it's going to be bumpy on offense. Hey, don't be shocked if the Eagles drop a game they shouldn't, because the offense limped around. And the defense has to keep low score. Dude, you have to keep opponents under 21 points to win games. If you don't keep them under 21 points to win games, it's going to be a bumpy start. I mean, would it shock me if the Eagles were winning games at the beginning of the year? 20-17? No. 2017 or losing the game 17-20. Because your margin of error. Look, do you know what the 2024 team gives you? The 2024 team gives you great margin of error. You ran people over. You played great defense. You had wonderful field position. Well, last year, you had no field position. You led the NFL in 3 and outs. Well, when you have and you lead the NFL in 3 and outs, eventually that's going to wear your defense out. I don't care who you are. I don't care how talented you are. I did think that today said a lot on what the expectations are. And I personally think, and I said it earlier, I think the national media is a year behind usually on covering local teams. You know, they see shit from 30,000 feet. They're not up close watching roster moves, contract negotiations. See, when you do a national show, you're vague on everything. You know about 35% of every team in every sport. When you do local, you know 100% about everything that's going on. So the national guys are about a year behind. And right now they're a year behind. They think that offensive line is still a great O-line. I'm not sure about it. And I'm not sure about the guy teaching it. The good teams, but you have Howie. The good team, I'll tell you this. My first time coming on here, the guy that it's completely changed my opinion of him has been Howie. It's been Howie Roseman. No one else. My opinion on Nick hasn't changed, and my opinion on Hurts hasn't changed. A little bit, not much though. But my opinion on the owner has probably been pretty much the same. The GM has changed a lot. The coach, not at all. A little bit. Same with the quarterback. Saquon Barkley, my opinion, was wrong in 24, but I think Saquon Barkley is a very good football player who had an elite year. But I personally think Saquon Barkley Is that the third player selected in the overall NFL draft? Even with that 1 year? I don't know. Okay. And yeah. Chills, how many of those helmets behind you have you worn? Kathakai and the CFL helmet. The other one, Steven replaced it for me. The Bucks replaced it for me. And the Canes replaced it for me. I had all those stolen. The jersey, they gave me a new one. Leroy Selman gave me that jersey. My remote at King of Prussia right there. And that's my first day as a pro. From the Tampa Tribune. That picture. My uncle made that for me. And Z got me that Jerome Brown jersey. And your boy gave me that helmet at Army Navy. Who's the guy? Invincible. Papalo. Vince Papalo gave me that helmet. He signed that helmet for me. Isn't that crazy? I never thought about it. He did that years ago, too. I was in Philadelphia at the convention center, and Vince Papali came up to me, and he goes, I got a helmet for you. And I'm like, oh, cool. He signed it to me and gave me that helmet. Vince Papali did it at the convention center in Philly. I think that's a Marriott that's across the street there. That's where I always stay when I come into Philly. Philadelphia, I'm just spitting facts about Hurts. The Jalenites can't get the glazing out of their eyes and see it. It's going to be a great year. I can't wait to see this. Thank you. Hey, James. James, you know what? I'll tell you one thing about your Commanders this year. Here's the thing about your command. That game one against the Eagles, that's going to be the healthiest your football team is going to be that year. So if I were the Commanders, I'd put a lot into that game. I would put a ton into that football game in that opener. Dudes don't even hide that they're Cowboy fans. They just put it on a shelf behind them and start talking Eagles football, saying, fire Nick. What does that have to do with anything? You play in the NFL? I don't give a shit where I played. Only team I care about is the Miami Hurricanes. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dude. You think I'm loyal to the Bucks or the Cowboys? Okay. Give a shit about that. The Bucks a little bit because they drafted me. Is there one team you wish you had played for as a kid? The Giants. Because my uncle played there. I'm jealous of the Eagles. Okay. Yeah, that's me. Mr. Jealous. Oh, man. Commanders game is a must-win for Washington if they want success in 26. Yes, I agree. Actually, Philadelphia, I want you to keep your Hurts because he's exposed and can't read defenses. The longer he plays, the weaker the Eagles are at quarterback. Sills, who do you think Howie can keep dodging the cap issues? Why do you think Howie can keep dodging the cap issues? The more money with the cap means more money for teams to sign players as well. Hollywood. That's why they're losing players at a major clip. Look at the players they've lost the last 3 years. They keep telling me they're going to sign Jalen Carter. Okay. That didn't happen. You can't sign everyone, Sills. Well, you signed one guy. Wait, you gave Bond a contract? Who have they given big money deals to in the last 2 years? Camp? Bond, Davis, Grenard. Who else? In the last 2 years, Cam Jurgens, Zach Bond, Jordan Davis, and Jonathan Grenard. Who'd they get brand new contract extensions to? In the last 2 years. They gave Barkley some extra cash. I'll put that there, Barkley. That was kind of a restructure. So in the last 2 years, they've given Barkley, Cam Jurgens, Bond, Jordan Davis, and Jonathan Grenard contracts. Yeah, but they cut money from him. They didn't give him a new deal. They cut money. That's because of the Phillies. You're lucky you didn't go to the Giants. I don't think they'll let you put on a Sileo's gentleman. If I'm Howie, I'm trading both Carter and Nolan Smith for separate deals to acquire 2 and 3 top round picks, second and third. You don't think you're getting more than a 1 for Carter? I think you're getting a 1 or a 2, I should say. Roseman is about to be going heavy on O-line for the next 2 years. To get younger and to get cheaper. And because the financial commitments on defense. Dude, they've got to do a ton of work on offense. That's an understatement. You're going to be changing out 3 players in that offensive line in the next 2 years. Big money guys, too. Lane, Landon. What are you going to do with Steen? I agree with Zander on Steen. Steen's a good football player. But Steen is not an upgrade from the last 4 years at that position. I think he's a good football player, but I don't think he's how about this? Is this fair to say? Steen's been the worst right guard they've had in 5 years. He's a good player, but he's been a downgrade. Sam Allen was better. Cam was better over there. Becton was better. Steen's been okay. You know, he's been a good player. All right. Folks, don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the #1 injury law firm in all of America for a reason. I had a great conversation with John. We're going to get him back on as the football season comes around the corner here, and we're looking so forward to it. This will be the easiest decision that you ever make in your life if you're ever injured on the job. I told you this before. One of the reasons that they started Morgan & Morgan was because John's brother got hurt on the job, and it became a quest for them to defend families like yours. Go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or #529. That's forthepeople.com/Big Sills or #529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sills sent you.
There's a reason the Karate Master was the #1 salesman in the lumber department.
Karate.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Guys, we will be 2 weeks away tomorrow from the start of the NFL season and practice for the Eagles. We appreciate you more than you know. Do me a favor, hit the like button. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.